for giving again. Fantasy caring that never ends. It's that all of you, you're the best and you give so much. It's not a fantasy. So much good's been done together. We raise the bar. Won't you stand up and take a bow? We're gonna throw a party and invite everyone we know. Yeah, you will see the best part of fantasy is giving. So we're here to say thank you for giving again. Thank you for giving again. Thank you for charity that never ends. Thank you for giving again.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, welcome to the inaugural Fantasy Football Honors Show. As 2020 draws to a close, it would be easy to write off the year as one lost to pandemics, lockdowns, and a change to the very way of our lives. However, it would be remiss of us to not separate the bad from the good in the year 2020. And so we are here tonight to celebrate all of those who've used fantasy football as a vehicle to give back and make a little bit of a difference in the life of others. Now, whilst fantasy football might be commonly an American pastime, it attracts players from all around the world, and we look forward to meeting some of those people from around the globe tonight. You may have noticed already, but this show has a bit of an international flavor, and that extends to my fantastic co-host, the brains behind this entire event. It is my great pleasure to introduce Canada's most celebrated son, Matt Donnelly.
Well, I think you're using intelligence and brains behind the operation very loosely at this point. We were kind of joking in the background that this was kind of one of those 1 million monkeys with a million typewriters in one room coming up with one idea. And here we are with fantasy football honors. And in a year that I would consider to be very dark for the most part, in which a lot of people are looking for some sort of hope, something to hold on to, there has been a light in our fantasy football community. Our fantasy football community has been a beacon out there. When we all get together, change can occur. Good can happen. And the people that we are going to speak with here throughout the show tonight are those people carrying that flame going forward into 2021. Those who have done charitable deeds within the community, good Samaritans on the fantasy football leagues and outside of the fantasy football leagues, whether that is supporting charitable donations, whether that's just being someone to pick another person up when they're down. And tonight we're going to hear their stories from them themselves. So I'm looking very forward to everything that we're about to talk about, meeting everyone here and hearing these stories, because really that's what it's about, hearing these stories of what people are doing for change in their communities. And right off the get-go, we are inviting our European delegation, so to speak, will be joining us right off the hop. And hat tip to everyone over there. I know it's about 1 a.m. in England, 2 a.m. in Germany. I know we've got a lot of people all over the place joining us tonight. We are truly international, truly gone global for this show tonight, which is absolutely amazing. The support that's come in through the community for the show already has been unreal.
It's incredible. Absolutely.
I just hope that we can do it justice and do the Fantasy Cares and do justice for everyone here. So without further ado, let's bring in Kickers Matters, Jack Humphrey. Jack, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me, guys. Hiya. How you doing, guys?
We are fantastic. Very excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm honored to be involved.
Brilliant.
Well, our first two guests today, we're going to get to the Warrior Bowl and Shane, but another one of the guys, I think you just put out a nice little Julio Jones jerseys thing, and there's a bit of a connection there. Am I not right, Jack? It was the Julio Jones jersey?
Yeah, so the Julio Jones jersey, I did a little DraftKings contest for week 16, I've got a ton of jerseys in my drawer, so my partner, she gets a bit annoyed with me. So I basically auctioned it off. I said, whoever, if you want to get involved in the DraftKings contest, it's free to enter. If you donate to charity could be anything that anyone wanted to donate to. And we had our winner. I've actually forgot who won it.
It was the same guy who won the Warrior Bowl.
It was, yeah. So there is a connection there. It's what's his name? Sorry, I have forgotten his name.
Steve, right?
Steve, yeah, that's it, yeah. So he won it, and I mean he's had an excellent week. But in doing so, we raised over £200. So I don't know, about $300 for just random different charities. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely incredible. And you've done things like this before, right? I've seen you doing them for a while. This is something you're obviously pretty passionate about doing.
Yeah, it started last year, really. I went to Scott Fish, and I asked him if he would mind if I set up a ghost league, so to speak, the Scott Fish Bowl. Only a 12-man redraft, same setting, same scoring, etc. And he was all up for it. And I said what I would be doing, everyone would donate to Cancer Research UK, is a charity very close to my heart. Cancer has affected my family, and I lost my best friend last year to it. But it's a charity very close to my heart, and we just donated. Everyone that entered could have donated £5, but again, just from that, a 12-man league, we raised over £300 for cancer research there, and we've now had to set up 3 different ghost leagues each year. So
brilliant.
It's just the interest is there for it. It's so, and I'm overwhelmed by the UK community, really.
Awesome. I think that's going to be a common theme tonight is through the Scott Fish Bowl. We've got events like you were just talking about, the Ghost League you're talking about. We've got the Warrior Bowl as well. And one of the things I wanted to throw on here real quick, because quite frankly, I think this is one of the most fantastic videos I've ever seen. Alvin, I got this.
There can be only one. What are we waiting for? Try to be best, cause you're only a man, and a man's got to learn to take it. Try to believe, though the going gets rough, that you got a handcuff to make it. History repeats itself, try and you succeed. Never doubt that you're the one, and you can have your dream. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. And nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Fight to the end, cause your life will depend on the strength that you have inside you.
I'm fired up.
Like we said, there's like that nice little thing there. There's another video you guys did there, the Star Wars theme, where it kind of had Steve Perkins absolutely destroying the competition as Luke Skywalker. You could probably added him throwing on a Julio Jones jersey at the end and hoisting the Warrior Bowl trophy, because he pretty much took everything this year over on that side of the pond. So with us today, we've got with Jack, we've got Shane, and we got Greg with us for the Warrior Bowl here. And I have a feeling, like I said, this theme today is going to be a lot of related back to the Scott Fish Bowl and how that kind of spurred on many events across the world here right now.
Welcome, gents. How are you?
Good.
That's brilliant.
Pumped by an 80s montage.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go run through a brick wall. Let's do it. Yeah, man. I played in the Warrior Bowl this year. Thank you for having me. My team decided to do absolutely nothing till about week 10. So too little, too late. It didn't pan out so well for me. But I just got to say, it was, considering it was his first year, it was fantastically run. It seemed seamless. You guys raised an incredible amount of money. So Shane, Greg, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the Warrior Bowl, the inspiration behind it, how it sort of all came together, and the plans for it, moving forward.
Yeah, so, I mean, really, it was kind of born out of lockdown, really, like a lot of things probably this year. Sat at home, extra time on our hands, and it didn't really come to an idea until around May time, and sort of around the time all the, as you mentioned, Scott Fish Bowl invites are all going out, and there's loads of hype on that on Twitter, and just got to thinking around that and all the sort of events and things that are going to get cancelled this year as a result of COVID, so charities that are going to miss out on all the sort of fundraising. I thought, well, surely we could do something here. Surely we could put something together that would help. And so I came up with the idea, thought maybe we could do something like 240 people. Is that ridiculous? Probably. So I sort of messaged a couple of people and just a couple of friends and said, look, I've had this idea. A, am I crazy? And B, if not, do you want to help me out with it? And we'll try and get something off the ground. So yeah, that was sort of late May, and then we sort of kicked off the campaign in June. Yeah, pretty much all via Twitter, just trying to generate as much interest as we can, really. And that's kind of how the videos came about. We just sort of try and do something a little bit different, just to try and generate a bit of interest, and came up with a couple of ideas for some videos, and we've done a few along the way. So yeah, again, as you said, like a lot of people, it's probably born out of taking a little bit of information from inspiration from Scott Fish Bowl. So
I just want to kind of go around the horn here. So Jack, I want to start with you here. When you choose a charity, you kind of mentioned that cancer really hit home for you, and was that pretty much a no-brainer for you to kind of put that charitable donation aspect towards cancer research?
Yeah, pretty much. I say it affected my family. And I say I lost my podcast host and my best mate to it last year. So yeah, it was a no-brainer. And cancer affects everyone, and it's something as a world we can do better at getting more research, etc. And that's why I wanted to set up the leagues that I've set up. And I think in the last year, Kickers Matter as a podcast have raised over £5,000 to cancer research.
Awesome.
Just random league and things like that. So.
And then Greg and Shane, what do you guys? Because I think with the Warrior Bowl, you guys had multiple charities with this too, did you not? And how did you come about deciding which charities to support, and like how do they touch your heart in a certain way that maybe more of a personal way that people don't understand?
So there's two main ones that we supported, and effectively there's one that's local to me, and there's one that's local to Foley and one of the other guys, JB, that are involved in setting it all up. So the first one, so the one that's local to me, is Bluebell Wood Children's Hospice. So that's about 10 minutes down the road from me. And my wife's done some work with them in the past, so we're sort of aware of obviously what they do. So yeah, and that's, as I say, very local to us. And then the other charity, Love Brum, is one that's local to Foley.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, they do huge amount of stuff with independent places in and around the West Midlands, Birmingham, where we live in the UK, and they further a lot of charities that it really help people that need it, really, from everything to kind of homeless charities to kids who need it and stuff. It's just a really good group of people come together to do good things for people who need it, really, people who fall under the radar a little bit.
When you guys said £10,000, right? That's like 14,000 US dollars, which is like 120,000 Canadian dollars. I may be wrong on that currency conversion there, but that number is astronomical when you think about a single league raising that much money. Like
in its first year, put together in May as well. It's just astounding.
It's a bit mad. It's a bit mad, isn't it? Really, considering we have no idea what we're doing and we still don't. Greg?
Yeah. Well, none of us do. We put this together. We don't know what we're doing, but it's brilliant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the thing that's blown us away, I think, the most, is just because we came up with this idea and we launched it in June, and we thought we want to try and get 240 people. I think we thought at one point, like, if we get 80, we'd probably be quite happy, because that's that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But to end up getting over 300 people signed up for it in the space of a few months, and really that's down to the support of the fantasy football Twitter community, which again we weren't even really a part of prior to June.
Not at all.
The account didn't exist. I had a personal Twitter account, but I never sent a tweet in my life. I just followed a few people. So yeah, really to go from nothing to get to where we got to is down in large part to the support from the community and everyone on that's part of fantasy football Twitter, promoting it, supporting it.
Two things we love: there's fantasy football and there's 80s montages, and that's worked out quite well.
I'm not too sure which one's better yet. The fantasy football.
So
I know I'm seeing Mr. Miyagi there and Rocky, so we know that's all working for me.
Yeah,
brilliant. So,
luckily for us, I think a lot of people like that, so it's worked quite well.
Yeah, lads, you said you had over 300 people sign up. Look, we expanded in 2021. We're going to 360. How many teams are we going for?
I asked Greg this the other day. He wouldn't commit to a number. I said 10,000, but he wouldn't commit to it. I think he should commit to 50,000 right now.
It's a stretch, but no, definitely want to get bigger and better next year. I think the plan is to A, increase the numbers so we can raise a bit more, and B, really just sort of enhance the experience that everybody has as part of the event. So they're the two main goals for next year, really. So.
We're obviously looking to grow the Warrior Bowl. Jack, what do you got going on your end of things with Kickers Matter? What kind of leagues you got in the works for 2021?
So we've got the Steve Rains Bowl. We've just crowned our first ever champion of that. Steve was my podcast host, who we sadly lost last year. He loved best ball, so we decided to create a 80-man tournament, best ball tournament, for him in his honor. We were blown away. We had over 200 sign-ups, and it was so hard to narrow it down to 80 people. I'm going to increase it for year 2. And again, it's just I'm blown away by people's donations and things. Just people's, people are great. The UK community, Greg and the Warrior Bowl team there said it's all great. The UK community is very. It's a great community to be a part of.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious from the outside looking in. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and from where I'm standing here, being in North America, there's not a whole lot I knew about going into what was going on in Europe with the Kickers Matter stuff, with the Warrior Bowl. We're going to hear about the EFFC a little bit later, K Fantasy Sports and stuff that they were doing. This is a lot of stuff that I'll be honest, I was a little naive about, or I don't know about naive, but in North America, I did not hear much about until like I said, I thought about this, and all of a sudden I jumped down that rabbit hole, and then I seen what was truly happening in Europe as far as charitable deeds go. And I was like blown away about the generosity in the UK, in Germany, Belgium, Ireland. There's so many this fantasy football, I think Lewis kind of mentioned off the get-go, this is not just football is not just America's game. It's gone global, and you're starting to see that not only in fantasy football, but the way charities are spread out as well. So it's absolutely mind-blowing. I think this is what everyone needs to hear about, that generosity, not just at home, but across the entire planet and the world and everything that goes with it.
And that's the interesting thing that Jack mentioned about the UK community, and that's one of the things that we thought, well, being in the UK, we thought we'd probably get a lot of people from the UK, and that would make up the majority of the people that are in the event. But that's it. Once it spread outside of the UK, we ended up, I think, about 60% of the people involved were in North America, another big percentage in the UK, but then we ended up with people from 22 different countries on 6 continents. So it really just took off and went crazy, which we never expected at all.
You just got to get a research scientist from Antarctica for next season to really.
That's the only one we're missing.
Exactly.
Did we miss Antarctica? We didn't get Antarctica.
Yeah, no penguins.
Speaking of those other countries,
we're really trying. Speaking of other countries, yeah, what a segue.
We've got the
Good morning, everyone.
in the house.
Morning,
too.
Peter. How you doing?
I'm fine. A little bit early. I gotta say, I just woke up.
Well, I think we heard someone mention earlier across my Twitter feed. It's like 2:30 a.m. Berlin time.
It's 2:20 over here. Yes, all the family is sleeping. My wife thinks I'm a crazy lunatic. So yeah, everything's fine.
About right.
So it's just a usual day for you then. Your wife thinks
Yeah.
you're a lunatic. This has nothing to do with you waking up at 2:20 in the morning.
No, nothing unusual over here. So I hope my kids are gonna sleeping through this. So yeah, if they sleep, we're gonna be fine.
So we kind
Excellent.
of talked a little bit about Kickers Matter, and we talked about the Warrior Bowl there. But another fun little tournament over across the pond, so to speak, is the EFFC that's been going on for a couple of years now. Peter, what's the
It's
story?
2 years now. 2 years. We have this year was the second edition, and we had a winner from a Mexican winner, I think, El Chato Romero, and yeah, it was a quite difficult year, I would say, because I think you're talking later about mental health, and I'm sometimes struggling with mental health too. So yeah, it was a quite difficult year with all that's going on, and so we were pretty late to get it started at the end of July, but we managed to get, I think, 192 owners into it. So yeah, we had been quite successful. Yeah.
And if I was doing my homework right, the EFFC was originally started as a kind of a spin-off of the Scott Fish Bowl to crown a European winner. And it's funny because now, you like the Warrior Bowl and everything else, it's gone global. Like you said, someone from Mexico took home the championship this year. So it's just crazy how this is evolving as more than just a European champion. It's now international, global, however you want to call it here.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk for a little about it and how everything started. So basically, as everyone can see, I'm a German, so I started playing, I think, in 2015, and I jumped right into it with playing IDP and everything, and so I got lucky in my second year. I tried to get into the Scott Fish Bowl into the Scott Fish Bowl, and I heard about capitalist pigs, and yeah, I'm one of the lucky guys who got into capitalist pigs 2 in the beginning, and with that I got to know a lot of great guys from the community, and that's where everything started for me. I got to know Scott Fish, all the work he's doing, and so at one point I thought about doing at first an IDP spin-off of capitalist pigs. That's what we now are, is Shark Tank. And in 2019 I was playing in my second or third Scott Fish Bowl, and somebody mentioned in a Scott Fish tweet if Germans are already into it, because he wanted to be, I think, the first German who played in it, and I responded to him that I'm already playing. So we befriended each other, and we talked on Twitter and talked later about it, and so we decided to do the EFFC. And this was July, I think, last year. We put it out on off the ground in basically 2 or 3 weeks and get everything set up. We are usually taking the rules of the SFB, so with the goal to get the Euros, the experience of the SFB, because the European community is quite different. I think the UK is way more advanced in this because they already have a community, but the rest of Europe don't have this community, because it's different countries, different languages and everything. So we try to get all these people a little more together. and that was the first EFFC in 2019 with, I think we had 120 or something owners, and these had been all Europeans. So this year we tried something different. We had head of division, so we tried to get for each division a head of, like Jack, he was the head of the, I don't even know what division was yours, Jack.
The San Miguel division.
San Miguel.
Named after beer, yes, named after beer.
So the year 2 was the year of the beer. So every head of the division had their beer. We got Bob Gilchrist this year to do all these banners, and I think in the end we had 16 divisions with 192 owners, and we expanded it to Mexico because, as said, I had some mental health issues during the year, and so I couldn't participate in the King's Classic, but I already was in the invited group with guys like Murph from the UK, and with Mo Gutierrez and a couple of others. And I already connected with Mo Gutierrez because we had some Mexican soccer players over here in Stuttgart who were champions, and we chatted about them. So he joined us as a head of the division also, and so we had a lot of Mexican guys. We got Kurt Holiday from South Africa, the Springboks, who's a good friend of mine since his SFB run. We got Salito and John Bosch, who are coming on later, and so we try to expand it and get some known commodities in various head of divisions, and get more awareness. And I think it worked out pretty well, and for next year we are already planning for 3 MFL leagues, which would be 24 divisions. We are already having all 24 head of divisions, so I think Jack and Matt, you're already on, and people can try to play against you, for example, and look for you if they want to join. And yeah, let's see where we are going. We are doing all of this for charity. So the first year, I think his name is at Tyrant Power. With a unique spelling, so he's from Paris in France, and he donated his money to the, I think it's called Neckar Hospital, and the Neckar Hospital is in Paris, and there's a charity organization that helps families with kids in the hospital with terminal diseases, so that we can take the time to support their children in this. So I don't even know how to say it in these difficult times, or so that they can share the last time with their kids without thinking about money and their jobs and everything. So we donated it to this during last year. Well, the half of the money went to this. Another half went to the family of Stevie Rains, who died during the contest, and he made the playoffs while being dead. It's a similar story like James Kutalas. And from what I'm feeling doing this, it's awesome to help these families and see the reactions of the people. I don't think it's anything else for others. I don't think any one of us wants to earn money through it, and we all just want to help and do something good. And yeah, this year we had Bob Gilchrist involved, and he donated his money to I think it's diabetes research. through Shark Tank, we had a similar case in Germany where we could donate some money, and we donated to Semper-Fi, an organization for veterans who got injured, and we also donated to Heather Kutalas through another league of mine. So yeah, I think these are the things that make fantasy great. And now I talked for 10 minutes, but I couldn't keep it short, unfortunately.
Absolutely. It was great to hear all of that. And the thing that stands out to me the most is like, everyone's not only raising money for big organizations that are doing wonderful work, but we're also able to raise money to directly help families who need it and support them when they're going through some really difficult and trying times in their lives. So it's a great testament to everyone who steps up to do that and to support the families of those who are unfortunately no longer with us in the community. So I think it's brilliant.
Yes, I think in the end, and I probably speak for all of us. It's not about the commissions. I think it's about the people who join all these leagues and donate the money. I think we are only the guys with the idea behind it, and try to get everything together so that all have a great time. I don't think we are the most important part, because if no one joins, we couldn't raise any money.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better myself.
So I think my time is already up. I talk a lot.
I've built in an extra 10 minutes to kind of cover.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that
we got a buffer for talkative Germans. We got that. That's in. It's all good. Absolutely, you've seen him pop in at the bottom of the chat. It's he snuck in there unannounced with no pomp and ceremony. But let's welcome into the stream. It's Rich King from King Fantasy Sports. How you doing, man?
I'm good, yeah. I only knew I was actually on the screen when Jack messaged me saying "Hello, beautiful." So I was like, So I don't know if some of you guys saw me, but I was literally like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah. Fortunately, you weren't doing anything untoward that was streamed, anything like that. So it worked out all right.
Not like the guy who met fame on the internet for doing.
Yes.
So. Yeah. Yeah. No.
What's the English version of Craigslist over there?
I don't think we have one. Grinder. I don't know.
This is gonna take a turn.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna. I've been on here for like 30 seconds, and already I've just smashed the tone. It's a dogging website or something like that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Yeah, but you well, Rich. Thanks for joining us, man. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I've literally just been whacking out spreadsheets for 4 hours. That's Jack Renault. He says he's announced the winner of the Steve Rains Bowl, right? He doesn't do anything. No. This guy does it all. Jack just gives it the big and after going, it's just taking loads to organise. This guy here came up with the scoring, does all of the work for it. Jack just gets all of the cool hats and stuff, That's how it is.
He's all sizzle and no substance, that Jack.
Yeah. That's it.
I did tell you there was a reason I got you involved in Kickers Matter from the offset. You're very useful with spreadsheets, and I'm absolutely useless with spreadsheets. So.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we're talking about charity leagues. So I run one. I run the UKFL, which is we just finished our second year. We supported cancer research last year because my brother got diagnosed with leukemia. He's now cancer-free. But I wanted to raise money because the only reason why he got the treatment that he did was because he was lucky enough to be on a trial. And it seems mad to me that, essentially your success in surviving cancer would come down to finance. That just seems crazy to me. So I decided that I would try and raise some money. you boys can't see it, but I'm packing quite a few extra pounds. So there was no way I was going to be doing a sponsored run or anything. And I thought about doing doing like the classic, like shaving your head or something, but thinning as well. So decided
if you lose it, it might not come back.
That is my worry.
You end up looking like folio.
Well, it's unbelievable. So I decided to make a charity league, and we had some fantastic support from some guys, and we ran with 240 people last year, and we expanded that by another 36 this year. So the charity we went for this year was Mind charity. It seems like mental health is like a big thing, right? Everyone's seems like they're talking about it at the moment. So the reason why we chose Mind is actually I went through some like pretty dark times, and if you ask people what they would think, they'd probably think I'd be like the last person who would have those kind of thoughts and those kind of demons. So what I wanted to do was to try and remove some of the stigma around it. And I kind of stood up and said, I had these problems, and I talked to someone about it. There's no shame in it or anything like that. And I had quite a few people appear in my DMs and say that that's something that they've struggled with as well. And maybe now they'll take a step forward in sorting out that problem. So that was pretty awesome.
I love how you guys are making this so easy to transition. Peter kind of mentioned about the mental health aspect. You carried on with it. The next guest, literally right after you guys, is Michael and Anthony with the FF Face Off with the Mental Health Pod. You guys are like rolling in everything beautifully here. Like I couldn't have set this up any better.
Yeah, but I mean, Lewis messaged me earlier and said, Rich, just like it's fine if you lower the tone, but don't try and be somewhat professional. It might be a struggle, but just try your best. And I didn't want to let Lewis down because, as an Englishman living in Australia, it's hard enough for him anyway.
I think it's like Rich talked open about it. You have to be open about it, because otherwise the people around you don't realize what you are going through and what you are struggling with. So I think that's the first step to get better overall, and I think it's also the best thing to raise the awareness for it, because as Rich said, people probably don't realize what you are going through.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this is the thing of fantasy football, right? It's a stupid game, but you can do some pretty good stuff from it. And I don't know if anyone in your stream is maybe watching that thinks, how am I going to go about running a fantasy league to raise money? Just literally just do it. Reach out to someone. Like, I helped set up Polly's Playoff. I don't know if any of you guys have been in that, but with Shane. So he reached out to me and said, like, I want to do this and basically use your exact format that you used for the UKFL. So I just sent him everything I had and just was like, there you go, mate, run with it.
And everyone is so willing to share their stuff. It's amazing. Don't hesitate. Reach out to anyone who's in this stream or a guest on the show right now. I would wager a significant amount of money. They'd be more than willing to spend some time helping you out. So
I mean, now you've bet and said that's going to happen. Like, it makes me kind of want to not do it, because I'm assuming that whatever you lose is going to go to charity, right? So now it kind of makes me.
No, it can't. Yeah,
it's put me in a difficult position.
It's real Sophie's choice.
And I think this is all built by Scott Fish, because he's the guy. He shares everything. I got his bylaws from Pigs for Shark Tank. I got the bylaws of King of the Hill. You can ask him whatever he wants, and he'll be happy to help. So I mean, it all comes from him.
Yeah. So we started our league. We started it because it was me and Ben Rolfe, who he's another guy in the UK. We were waiting on our Scott Fishbowl invites, and we were like, let's just do our own.
Yeah.
And I think actually, I don't know where Lewis, I don't know where you got your rules from, but I'm pretty sure we stole a lot of yours.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad because, like, you know,
Here's formal flattery right there.
Right? Yeah, it's absolutely great. I've had a couple of people message me before, whether it's for charity leagues or just league constitutions. Please take them. It's you know, if they help someone else, it's great. And you don't even have to go out and do a huge charity league if you don't feel you got the time to do the admin. But just, you know, convince your league or change your league to donate a portion of the pot to charity. If every single fantasy football league took 10, 20%, 30%, shaped it off the top and gave it to charity, we would raise millions of dollars. We're all degenerates who spend a lot of money on fantasy football. So there's plenty to go around.
So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking across the room here, and I'm like, everyone here basically started a charity league by just going for it. There was just one of those days that just kind of clicked and said, you know what, we're doing it. Let's go. Let's put our resources together. But the other thing I'm looking here, and I wanted to make sure I said this and say this correctly. Charity, when we talk, this is FF Honors. This isn't just about charity as far as financial giving. We talk about the mental health aspect of everything, and it's just reaching out, the Good Samaritan kind of approach there. You know, lots of people, you guys have talked about it openly, and that's a good start. That's something that needs to be honored and brought up in the community itself, because it's not just a handful of people. There's a lot of people that are afraid to talk about it still until it gets out there more often. And that is something that needs to be honored as well as we speak on this show. Now, I know we're trying to manage the time here a little bit here. I said Michael and Anthony coming on here in about 8 minutes or so. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jack. Just kind of one last thing with Kickers Matter and everything you're doing over there.
So we're going to be doing more charity leagues. Like I said, the Steve Rains Bowl will be increasing. Rich doesn't know that yet. I might change the format a bit as well.
Right.
And I'm also doing another podathon. So shout out to Sal. Sorry. I went to him direct. I did a podathon before the season started for about 8 hours. It nearly killed me. So I thought the week before the Super Bowl, I'm going to do 24 hours. So, and that is for cancer research and Mind Charity as well. So shout out to Sal for helping me, giving me advice with how to do that, basically. So jump on in. There'll be some great guests throughout the fantasy community. Any donations would be welcome. We're going to do a raffle again where we're giving away jerseys, signed helmets, things like that.
Shall I take it personally? You haven't asked me yet, Jack.
Well,
You wanted great guests.
I didn't think I really needed to ask you anymore. You're kind of part of the furniture now. So.
He's like, he does the spreadsheets. I'll bring him in. I feel bad for him. Just sit in the corner and don't say anything, Rich.
Yeah, toss him a bone every now and again.
Yeah.
Shane, Greg, what do you guys got going on next here? Where are we taking this Warrior Bowl?
So again, as we said, just the plan is the two goals really just increase the numbers, generate a bit more for charities, and just enhance the experience. They're the two main things we want to achieve. Raise as much as we can and give the people in the league the best experience that we can. So I think as Foley said earlier, we've kind of blown by the seat of our pants a little bit this year. We've never done anything of this magnitude. So we've just kind of learned as we've gone along, learned a lot. But yeah, more of the same really. And again, also just to echo what's been said already in terms of the generosity of other people within the community and the amount of questions that when we launched our league, we kind of wonder whether other people and guys on this stream that have got leagues of their own, whether they might be thinking, well, this is a competition league, this is a rival league, and they might not want to help us. But it couldn't have been further from the truth. Everyone that we've reached out to has been more than willing to help and share ideas and share rules and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
Peter, what do you got going on? What's next for EFFC?
I think we are already right into the middle of recruiting, and I'm gonna send out an email to the winner of this year and see what where he wants to spend his money to. Because one thing about the EFFC is that the winner chooses the charity organization. So we are looking together for great things to support, and we are not looking for the bigger things. So it could be something local, something smaller, because oftentimes these charity foundations are struggling to raise money or getting money, and they are usually doing some great stuff because these guys live for it. And for me, it's these are the really great guys, because I'm a real estate broker, so I'm not really a socialist per se. So I try to support these guys this way. And for the EFFC is we try to expand and get guys from all over the globe. So get some Australian guys in it. I think we have Luis as a head of division for next year, and so everyone from every Aussie could compete against him. We try to get more Europeans in countries that are not so involved yet. I would like to get more Scandinavians, see what we can do in Italy or Spain, and grow this thing and build a European community. I think that's the main goal of everything. Build a European community and get these guys in touch with great players from the US, so that we can see how the US is playing, because I think it's a different way to play fantasy football. And so this is the main goal: share my experience with others and get these people the same thing, and see what, so that they can see what you can do with fantasy and how great it can be and what kind of an amazing community is. So if you have one minute, I share a last story about mental health, because when I started playing in pigs, I had a huge setback with mental health, and I'm dealing with anxiety disorder, it's called. So I was struggling after we startup, and I talked to a couple of guys. I removed myself from a lot of leagues, but I stayed in 2 leagues because I got caretakers, and these are guys that reached out to me immediately after I told them what's going on, and they supported me, and that's the only reason I stayed in fantasy football, because of these guys who took care of my teams for 3 to 4 months after I recovered, and the rest of that is now I'm here with all these leagues that I run and everything else. So yeah, it's the small things oftentimes.
It's great, man.
Rich, last word over to you.
I don't really know what else there is to say that the other guys haven't said. So I guess I would just say if you're thinking about doing one, or you have like some cause that you want to raise money for, then just go ahead and do it. Like that's the biggest takeaway I can give anyone. Just go and do it. Reach out to someone on Twitter. Like I think all of our Twitter handles are on here, or you can just throw out something, like get in touch with Matt and he can point you to Lewis. Who I'm just I like, the thing is, I don't want to talk about it too much, but like I'm just kind of jealous of Lewis. Like I can see the sun's in the background, like weather's good, like life is good. Like it's freezing here.
Yeah, it's warm and humid, and yeah, there's a pool
like
outside.
Life is good for Lewis. Like, you know, I was in an experts league with him. I don't really want to talk about it. Tips all: don't draft Michael Thomas in the first round. That was a poor decision.
Should have went with Stephon Diggs in the first round.
I should have gone with a lot of people in the first round. My team's a dumpster fire. Like, that's just unbelievable. The worst bit is I was giving it large in the draft room as well. Like, it's coming home because I was the only like British guy in there, and I was like, it's coming home. All you guys suck. Like, Lewis is like getting it because he knows what I'm like. I'm just not a nice person essentially. That's why I do the charitable things to kind of balance it out. But yeah, and then when just tank the season, I'm like, I don't even want it. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Yeah.
I want to thank Rich and Peter here because the next guest we're pulling in is actually the one of the guys who started the mental health pod, and that's our friend Michael Hoff here kicking in here. So,
he's the guy who doesn't have the arms, right? Like Anthony's got the arms, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Anthony does have the arms. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Anthony's the type of guy that if I saw in a dark alley, I'd give 20 quid. Just leave me alone, mate.
He's
on the face.
Some shrugs somewhere, getting ready,
But Michael, you're a whiskey fan, right?
Oh yeah, I got
So let's take it on over.
Here.
Okay, so I think as you're on, and I didn't know if we would cross paths, but let's break into my collection here. So I have some Monkey Shoulder, I have some Macallan Gold. What do you think? What are you saying?
Right.
What do you reckon?
I love Monkey Shoulder.
Well, yeah, Monkey Shoulder's good.
Yeah, okay. Let's break into that then. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's make this a drinking pod.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone wants to play along and have a drinking game, I think if you have a drink anytime mentions the words Scott Fishbowl or Scott Fisher's name, you'll be absolutely battered by the end of the podcast.
Don't do that. That's not.
Yeah,
This is a guy living in Australia. Like, let's make a drinking game of it. Yeah, brilliant.
But Michael, I don't know if you caught much of the conversation ahead of you. Both Rich and Peter were talking openly about their mental health and where they've been in this past year or so. And you guys, along with Anthony, kind of came up with that mental health pod with the Hayden Hurst Foundation. You want to just kind of talk to everyone about that? How did you guys get even started with the Hayden Hurst, the mental health pod? How did that come to fruition there?
I mean, Anthony can also give his side, but I mean, he's had some issues with mental health. I've had some issues, so really it was just, and we joke about Scott Fishbowl, and how many times we'll say that, but that's a very inspiring thing that he does. So through that, I wanted to do something. And one day I stumbled across Hayden Hurst telling a story about, everything that happened to him and the troubles that he went through after his little stint with baseball. And I just pitched the idea to Anthony. And he said, absolutely. Next thing I know, I'm tracking down his foundation, which you could find at HH Foundation 81 on Twitter. And away we go. They couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't have been more willing to work with us. They gave us a shot with this Podathon. I don't think they really knew what we were talking about when we first mentioned it, but it went well. It was good. So there you go. On that note, if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's for you.
I feel left out now.
Cheers. Yeah, well, Jack, if you drink proper drinks, then you join the club.
That's it. But yeah,
I'm gonna go and get one.
But that mental health Podathon, we were first year doing it. We were able to put together $6,055 in the first year.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, and we're already working on year 2. So
I was just going to ask you, everyone we've talked to so far, it's been like, hey, we started this thing, we didn't know where we were going with it. And now we are moving on to year 2, bigger and better. Expectations were met in the first year, probably beyond what you would have thought in the first year.
Yeah.
And now how do you improve going forward? How do we continue to bring mental health to the forefront, especially to our not only in our communities, but to the fantasy football community as a whole?
Yeah, and that's sometimes us in the fantasy football community, sometimes we butt heads. Sometimes we don't agree on takes and this and that. But if there's one thing about this fantasy community, they always come together for a good cause. Always. There's so many genuine good hearts in this industry. So really, I mean, from that standpoint, it's literally just like lighting a match and just letting it go. Yeah, everybody's on board with that. So, I mean, how you make year 2 better, the fantasy community will be there. Really, it's just trying to open it up more to even everybody else, just getting word of mouth out past that community, past to maybe the people who are dealing with mental health, get those folks too, not just folks in the fantasy community with the mental health issue. So by doing that, we're already starting on a guest list. We plan we've already got, I can't say any names, but we've got some names we're working on. Might play in the NFL, might not, but working on some names. So we'll see what we get. We're looking forward to it. But really, that's it. It's just trying to get it farther out there. So that's the goal. Now it's got legs. Let's run.
Well, like you said, you'll never have a shortage of guests. I know everyone's banging on the door to get into the SFB Podathon. Everyone's going to be banging to get into the Super Bowl Podathon there with Jack Humphrey. I'm sure you're not going to have any issue filling up the time slots for the mental health pod. And I know even this little thing here, this 3-4 hour show, it was, you know what, we're going to keep people to about 10 minutes because people want to get out there. They want to tell their stories. And, there's so many amazing stories out there. And like just on your Podathon alone, it was probably more of a health thing for you as well, right? It kind of a healing just to hear other people's stories.
Absolutely. And, and I think one of the coolest parts about that, he's drinking more whiskey. I'll pour some. I think the coolest part about that, though, is that you got to see Michael Fabiano, for example, was a guy I was shocked when he, I remember I sent out a tweet and said, would you be willing to do this Podathon? Just whatever, Hail Mary. And within minutes, he follows me. He sends me a message. I'm in. And to me, it was like you got to see these other people in the industry because mental health had affected him. So I think that gave a view to a lot of people like, hey, we all got into this industry looking up to people like that. Well, guess what? They've had their issues too. So, I also think it opened it up that way. And so, yeah, it was definitely a beautiful thing. And, speaking of the guest list, you talk about that. I remember when me and Anthony first had this idea, I think we said we would go 12 hours, I think. And the guest list filled up so fast, we went to 16 hours. And then I think we even went a little bit longer that day. I forget. And now next year we're going to do 24 because we're just going to say, screw it. We're doing 24. So
24.
If you need someone for that early shift / perfect UK time,
I will definitely keep you in mind. And that's the thing too. Every time I post a tweet or something about the mental health Podathon, I always get at least 4 or 5 messages right after that tweet that says, hey, if you need somebody, I'm in. And I think I've
literally been one of those guys. Literally every single time I'm like, I'd love to come on and talk about it. This is a big thing.
I take those names when they send me a message. I put it into a spreadsheet and I keep it there for safekeeping. When I'm ready to start getting some names, you'll be contacted. So
well, we better start penning.
there you go.
I'm not sure. Yeah, cheers. Now the arms is here.
I was gonna say now.
Yeah, he was busy doing his curls.
Yeah, he had to get his pre-show pump on.
Kel's got to go.
What's going on, guys?
How much?
Hey, what's up, man?
Well, Michael,
I couldn't find this link.
Oh, really? Yeah, it kind of got up there, and people started talking. It kind of gets bumped up there further and further. Michael kind of alluded to earlier about your story, kind of how you got involved with this mental health, because it touches home for you too, does it not?
No, it does. I come from more of an addiction background, and I think I've always had underlying mental health things going on, but the addiction really brought them out, especially, 7 years into recovery. There's a lot of things that, that are left up. You're trying to figure out anxiety. All of a sudden, I never had anxiety before. I have a little bit of anxiety now and OCD and all these other things,
Right. And I think it's just fantastic that you're so willing and open to talk about them, because that's something we touched on with some of the other people is and Rich was saying as well, is talking about these things and removing the stigma around having that conversation. And just even if just one person hears your message and gives them the courage to stand up and talk about their own demons or their own things that they're having problems with. So I tip my cap to you. I think it's absolutely tremendous what you've been doing and your openness about it.
And you banged on, as someone myself that comes from an addiction background, I've been clean and sober for, I don't even remember. When I decided to stop, it was just, we're done. It's it. I think we're at year 15 or 16 right now myself.
Wow.
But then
Nice.
you don't realize the underlying causes behind everything. Like you said, the anxiety. I didn't realize I had an anxiety until I quit drinking. That was one of
Right.
those things you didn't realize you had until
Right.
you had it, so to speak. So
Yeah.
your story kind of touches a lot with my story. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for doing that mental health pod, because when we talk about charity and stuff, it's not just about the finances. It's about the communication, the being charitable to one's heart, so to speak, and having people hear these stories. It's healing to them. They may not be comfortable yet in sharing their story, but they also need to hear it for their own healing, so to speak. And what you guys did with that mental health pod, like Michael said, hearing Hayden Hurst's story kind of brought everything up, and that's kind of where this whole Podathon got going there. Just hearing his story, making it easier.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely his story, and he was very when it came time to do the interview with him, he said, his people said, pull no punches, ask whatever questions you want. He's an open book. He's going to tell you everything, and since that time, we've seen the Dak Prescott thing. We've seen
I
Game
think
Day.
Paul George over in the NBA.
Yeah, right.
also.
There's that. Yeah, you just you see a lot of outpouring of just how widespread of this is mental health, and I think the best thing is that now people feel like they can talk about it, and hopefully year 2 gets more people to feel like they can talk about it. That's the goal.
I know, Rob, that's a tough one to kind of follow up behind there with we got Rob Norton also joining us here, who kind of kicked off the Baby Bowl there. This guy, Rob, talk about, how did the Baby Bowl develop? How did that start?
Yeah, so last year I did a similar kind of competition, but for the playoffs. And this year I was thinking, I wanted to do something for the regular season. And the way the charitable aspect got involved was, I joined Scott Fishbowl and joined John Bosch's FC Eliminators. And, I started thinking, I was like, how can I do something to help out and give back? And so, it just kind of came together like that. And I was like, well, I want to do something that's, means something to me. So March of Dimes was the one that I chose. So I was going to say a little bit about the March of Dimes. The reason I chose that, we had some close friends that went through a tragedy a little while back, and they lost their child really late into the pregnancy. So it was just something that really hit home with me, and especially because my son is so young and was born about a month before theirs. And so, for me going through, and we had been close friends, and, thinking to myself, like, our kids are going to grow up together, and, everything like that. And, how heartbreaking it was to see them go through that. That was something that, really hit home to me. And that's what I wanted to do for that.
Well, it's like the March of Dimes kind of comes up, just trying to pull everything together, ties into the whole mental health aspect as well, right? You were just talking about coming down on hard times, this family, a friend of family kind of thing. Everything kind of interlinks with each other. The charitable aspect with the mental health aspect. It's quite the interesting connection that you can make between the two.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like I said, seeing them and, how rough they had it, and, all the dark times they went through for a long time and still are going through, and having to reach out and have people to talk to, and, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely, like you said, it interlinks.
With the Baby Bowl, were you surprised with the amount of charity that came from it, from the original little idea, and then how it grew from there? And just kind of touch base on where are you hoping the Baby Bowl extends to in 2021? Is this something you're looking to continue doing?
Yeah, definitely. I want to make it definitely a yearly thing. I was really happy with the amount of people that were able to join this year, the amount of people that were really excited about it, and were a huge part of it, helped me make it happen. And And this year was the first year of it, and we were able to donate over $1,500. So that was really awesome. And so yeah, from here, I'm doing one for the playoffs, and then I'm gonna do it again next year, and then hopefully it just keeps growing from there. I mean, obviously, the more people that get in it, the more we're able to donate.
We've kind of seen that, right, Lewis? We've kind of seen that talking with the European delegation, the Warrior Bowl, the Kickers Matter, and those charity leagues. With the EFFC, how it's continued to grow. The mental health pod, you talk about 8 hours to 12 hours to 16 to 18. Next, it's going to be 24 next year. And who knows where it goes from there. Same with the baby boom. You start with so many entries, and now you're looking at more and more and getting more of that charity aspect behind it and getting that voice out behind it as well. It's quite the testament to everyone who comes on the show today, what they've been able to do for their causes. And I know everyone believes strongly in each and every one of those causes that they're working towards here. So,
yeah, no question. Every single person has just been like, yep, it's grown year on year. We're going to make this thing bigger and better. We're going to raise more money. We're going to reach more people. We're going to share more people's stories. I mean, I can't imagine where we're going to be, in 5 years' time. Scott Fishbowl is probably going to have 800,000 people playing in it. Someone's going to raise, $500,000 for charity. I mean, it just keeps growing, and it's just going to be so amazing to be able to look back and, and experience the journey along the way, but look back and go, all of these started from such, humble beginnings. Scott Fishbowl was, a handful of people back then. It was 1,000 and something teams this year. Yeah. I know it's going to grow again. And same with, with the baby bowl, you guys are going to end up doing a mental health podathon for 3 days straight. Before you know it, you're going to have an entire NFL roster on as guests. Yeah. Like, it's just, it's awesome. Only hope. And it only works because people and everyone in the fantasy football community are so willing to come out and support and be a part of these. No matter how many of these type of things pop up, there's always people willing to go, yep, I'll jump in that one. Yep, I'll jump in that one. People will play in 10, 15 leagues. They will come on as guests to 5 different, live streams or whatever they're doing. People are so willing to support the causes. So going back to what we talked about earlier, if you're thinking about doing something, don't wait, just do it, because the community will step up and be there, and they will support you 100%.
Yeah, they'll come online to speak for a couple of minutes. It's now 2:10.
And drink whiskey
in the morning. And drink whiskey, but yeah, I've always wanted to drink whiskey with Michael. Just never.
I've got one more. I've got one more.
One more ball in there.
Just appeared. I don't know how it got here.
One for the road.
There you go.
Cheers. With that, I'm actually going to go to bed because I've got 2 young children who, as much as they appreciate my fandom of NFL, or as my son likes to call it, funny man, I need to go to bed. So it's been a pleasure, gents. Keep doing all you're doing, and I'm sure we'll catch up at some point.
Yeah,
sounds good. Take care. Thanks, Rich. Thanks for coming on.
Take it easy.
Michael, Anthony, last little thing you want to throw out there here before we kind of let Norton Rob take over a little bit. Norton 0723 throws me off from using your real name.
What's that, Mike?
I was going to say, you go first, Anthony, if you have any final words.
Yeah, last year I didn't speak as much in the Podathon because being on the production end, I wanted to make sure it went seamless. This year I hope to speak more about my story and how really mental health and addiction go hand in hand, because there are people out there maybe suffering from mental health. Maybe they don't want to go to a doctor or tell anybody, and they're using drugs to kind of block it out or cope.
I agree. And I know there's someone out there. I don't know who it is, but I know there's someone out there that needs to hear that specific story. And that's the thing with our community is someone's listening. They don't know what they need to hear until they hear it. And that's kind of where a lot of people are. And I say you tell that story until you're blue in the face, because it's going to affect somebody somewhere down the road.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And if I could say one last thing, first, this is a great thing you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Keep it up, and God bless you. But I just, Lewis was kind of talking about how everybody's doing different things, and if you have an idea, do it. Don't think that because we've got this, we've got that, we got this, we got that. Don't think that you can't do some good. If you want to do some good, do some good. Again, this community is great. This community will show up.
Mm-hmm.
I said, should we do this? Because there's the SFB thing. Should we do? And, it worked out. So just do it. Do it and run with it. So that's
just do it. That could be a slogan.
It could be. I'll work on that later.
Yeah.
You think we'll be able to
it needs a check under it.
Yeah, a check. Yeah, just do it. Yes.
It's like a swash. Yeah. Like a swash, right?
Yeah. That's hey, we could be onto something there.
There you go.
Quick, stop the live stream before someone gets out the idea.
It'll never make it. It'll never make it.
All right, I'll let you guys go. You guys have a fantastic show. Again, Thank you for doing this. Thank you for inviting me. And
thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Rob?
Really appreciate it.
Good night, guys. Good luck for the rest of the show.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you. Rob, last thing over to you here real quick before we get into the BFTG boys. You want to just kind of touch on the Baby Bowl real quick there, Rob? Where people can find it, the link?
Yeah, sorry. You could find it, on my Twitter at Norton0723. Anyone who is interested in joining, whether it's the playoff version or next year or anything, just, at me, DM me or whatever. I'm always active on there and trying to get as many people signed up as possible. Because like I said, the more people we get, the more donation it is. So, like Michael mentioned that, like, all the people, who are thinking, don't do it. I thought the same thing. I was like, there's already Scott Fishbowl, there's already John Bosch's Eliminators, already all this stuff. Like, mine was just going to get lost in the shuffle. It's not really going to matter or anything like that. And I was definitely very happy with how it turned out, and hope it continues to grow. So, and I want to thank you guys for having me on here, and really appreciate it.
Oh, Rob, no, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. And everyone, make sure you go and support the Baby Bowl. Get involved.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. Thank you.
And then speaking of watching things grow, I know Jason and George have seen the Toys for Tots thing just absolutely explode over the last, 4 or 5 years? Like, we're talking ridiculous amount of work you guys are doing in the off season, and especially this time. Actually, shouldn't say the off season. This season, the one we're currently in, right?
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year. Pardon my language. We've been doing our Toys for Tots. Jason and I, we first got started when we were on Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life app. Had a little podcast that spun off from there that Jason and I did, and for some reason, people actually wanted to listen to us ramble and fight about just about anything. And then one year I asked Jason, I said, hey, what do you think about trying to use our little platform here to raise some money for Toys for Tots? And he was all in on it. And the first year, Jason, Jason, go ahead. Tell them what we did for the first year.
So the first year we begged, right? Like, we had a following, but we didn't have an idea. So we just came out and we begged the people for money. And we raised like $800, something like that. It wasn't a ton of money, but it's still good money, right? Like, it's any dollar raised for charity is good money. So the first year we begged. The second year we had an idea about going to the auction site and buying a prize, and we decided to wrap off, and we made a little bit more money. We made like $1,200. And George came up with an idea that we would take our own personal money and buy prizes off and I don't know if I can say it or not, but the auction site where everybody buys their sports memorabilia. Yeah, we'll say pristine auction. Yeah. So we would take our own personal money. We'd run charity leagues, and for a donation, whatever the donation was, it would end up being, we'd give away that prize at the end of the year. And we decided to run a bunch of little leagues and not run one big massive, Scott Fishbowl's got the corner marketed on giant thing. we decided we were going to run as many small leagues as we could afford prizes for. Our third year, George, where were we? I can't remember coming out of the third year, somewhere around $4,000. Last year we hit 5,500.
Yep. Last year we hit just over 5,500 doing this, and then coming into this year, Jason's goal was 10,000. But I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be possible because of COVID, like people losing their jobs, the economy just pretty much tanking here in the States. I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to go. We might not even have an NFL season, so I don't know how well this is going to work. But let's just go for it and see how it turns out. And throughout the year, we did pretty well. We raised a little over $11,000 for Toys for Tots. And what we ended up doing this year was we sent some money to Detroit for one of our guys, Shane, to go do toy shopping there. We sent some money to Colorado to our girl Fallon, so she could go and do some shopping there in Colorado for Toys for Tots. And then the guy commenting down here in the comments, FL2 Drink, he lives in St. Augustine, Florida. And Jason and I live in Titusville. Well, I live in Titusville, Florida. He lives in Merritt Island, Florida. 2 Drink drove down to us, and his family, my family, and Jason's family all went Toys for Tots shopping here in Brevard County and ended up donating after all the discounts and coupons and frugal shopping that we did. We ended up donating just shy of $10,000 to Toys for Tots.
That's
incredible.
If you watch the intro video to this show, we've actually got pictures of the two of you with 2 Drink there and the shopping spree you guys were able to go on. So it was all part of the montage.
The amazing thing I can say is it's the community, right? Like I think everybody's touched on that, but we put out, people trust that we're going to do the right thing with the money, and we keep the receipts to make sure we can prove it every year, but nobody ever asks, because you can see in the pictures that every dollar we receive, we spend on toys. And that comes from George and I have made a pledge at the beginning, and we don't care how big we get. Like we don't have overhead, so the prizes come from us. The U-Haul truck we rent comes from us. That comes out of, those are our donations. And what we found is when we're willing to donate our money for prizes and for U-Haul, like people are willing to match and then go way beyond in order to play in these leagues to give for charity. So, it's one of those things about being, having the integrity, like all the people that you've had on so far, having the integrity to do the right thing, which is something that you see in this community so often. Everybody that does this has such great integrity. So having the integrity to do the right thing and then following through and showing what good it does, right? Like, so the other thing that we got to do this year, and unfortunately George had to work, but I got to go hand out the toys. I got to go hand the toys to kids. And my son's 8 years old and he loves Ryan's World. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but he loves Ryan's World more than anything. We bought him this $30 surprise egg. It's this big, right? And this year he brought it to me and he said, I want to give this to the kids. And talk about a proud father moment, right? Like what 8-year-old wants to give away their toys? But he gave it away, and the coordinator in Brevard where we live sent me a picture of the little boy who actually got that egg. And my son saw it, and he just like gave me the biggest hug. So like it's infectious, like in the community, it's infectious in our own lives. It's infectious going forward. Like it's just any way you can give is amazing.
Yep, that's a great story. I love that. I think
I'm on mute.
He's on mute.
We're like an hour and 20 minutes in, and that's the first miscue we've had. That's pretty good.
That's really good. Really good. I thought the rail would have been. Yeah.
You guys talked about setting that bar, and you didn't think you were going to reach 10,000. So I got to ask, what's the goal for next year?
Jason, you're the one with the goals.
we haven't done it yet. So just as a joke, every year we said we want to beat the Podathon. And the first 3 years we've beat the Podathon. This year they crushed us, right? They got you. So I can't say we'll beat the Podathon. Sal, I love you, but it's past your bedtime. Go to bed, old man. But what I can say is every year we've talked about doubling, and we've pretty much done it every year. So It was 11 this year. I'm going to say 20 to temper expectations, but I think we can do. I think we can do 20.
Well, I think if you get the support of the community behind that, again, I guess this keeps growing. Everything seems to be growing. From you've seen it from your first year to now. We've seen it in multiple leagues. We go from where you guys are to where Dan and Nate just started the IDP Invitational for Autism Speaks. They just started this as their first year with their event. I'm going to slide it over to you guys. How'd that turn out? And where did the Autism Speaks charity play into the whole thing?
Yeah. So before we jump into that, I just wanted to say, Matt, I'm really happy that you sent me this award, but I'm going to have to hand it over to these guys. Thank you for watching. Raising 20,000. I mean, we were very excited to have raised 2,000 for Autism Speaks in our first year, and kind of just it was a discussion in our team Slack chat and about starting something like a charity league, something that kind of incorporated IDP and the Scott Fish Bowl. There was this discussion over the last off season. So Dan and I kind of connected. And Dan, why don't you talk a little bit about the charity that we decided on?
Well, sure. For those of you that don't know, my son Braden, he's 8 years old, and he has autism. So it's a charity that's close to my heart. We've done the Autism Speaks walk in Philadelphia for the past 5 or 6 years, and we always raise money. And normally we're lucky if we get like $100. So about 3 years ago, with the help of John Bosch and Peter Gent, I started an Illuminator for Autism Speaks and raised $100. One league, $100, good deal. And then last 2 years ago, did 3 leagues. Was getting crazy. Did 3 different leagues, and raised about $300. And then this year, I decided to go crazy and do 7 leagues, in which Mr. Dingus here was one of our celebrities for the league. He did not win the league.
Honest, we use that term very loosely around here.
Incredibly loosely.
Well, celebrities in the fantasy world, I guess, in our little dream world. But yeah, and so we raised there, and I wanted to try to keep going. I was kind of to excuse the term butthurt that I wasn't in SFB, so I was like, you know what, IDP needs some sort of tournament because IDP is like the redheaded stepchild of fantasy. That doesn't get any respect. So being an IDP person, an IDP guy. We Nate and I came together, and he's the computer guru and marketing guru here. I'm just the thought guy here, and loudmouth that talks on IDP Nation every once in a while.
No, it was great. I really enjoyed collaborating and doing something that was able to incorporate a near and dear charity to us, and we've kind of co-opted and taken hold of that, and we've really been pushing it this off season, and we kind of decided and finalized everything in, I would say, May. And I've been watching the show up until now, and it seems like that's a common theme. Everyone seems to decide in May to start a new league, start something to benefit a charity. So that was kind of the same token for us. And we didn't want it to, we wanted it to have a similar feel to Scott Fish Bowl, in the sense that, people had to sign up. There were so many people chosen, and it also carried the same settings as Scott Fish Bowl in the sense of offense. And then I kind of fashioned some IDP settings to kind of go along with it, to try and keep everything fairly consistent, so that your offense and your defense were scoring pretty similar. And even added some of those, like Scott Fish Bowl likes to have, the tight end premium. So I added cornerback premium to kind of throw that monkey wrench in there too. So then we set everything up, sent out a Google form, and had people signing up. I believe we hit like 150 people signing up within a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, was it, Dan? I want to say. And
Yeah,
then,
it was pretty quick actually. I think it was about a week. We had full within like a week. I think we
Yeah.
made an announcement on our show and your show, and it was pretty much,
Mhm.
you know, we
It
sent out
went
a few
quick.
tweets. Yeah, it was pretty quick, and we were like, you know. So obviously next year we're looking to build.
Yeah, so we wound up inviting 96 people, 96 managers, and I set up. It's all on. MFL was nice enough to donate a league setup for it, and we started raising. Essentially, people who got the invite, we included a link to Dan's Autism Speaks. What was that? That was your
It was our
charity
page. Yeah, it's our page
Yeah.
that we use each year to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and with the eliminators, I do want to thank a few people as well before we get to the. I think it's very close, so we don't really have a definitive winner in the IDP Invitational yet.
We will tomorrow,
thanks to stat corrections. But Dynasty Madman Jeremy, he was a celebrity. He actually came in second, so his just like the John Bosch run eliminators, his is automatically donated. So I have to make another donation tonight. We had a couple people also included. 50 Shades of Drunk, Jordan Rains was a celebrity. Dynasty Trip Brebner, I think is his last name. I just only know him as Trip. Dingus and Joey the Tooth, and of course my partner in crime, Hollywood, was a celebrity, and Julie, the first lady of the IDP Nation podcast, she just wanted to win against Daryl, so she donated her winnings, as well as Mason Rose donated his winnings as well, so that they just wanted to beat Hollywood is basically what they wanted to do. And we also donated to Autism Speaks and also the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. Those two charities both got a little bit of about 2,000 went to Autism Speaks, and about 200 I think went to the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. So all in all, great job, everybody. I couldn't really, I was thanking everybody, getting the results out and getting the money out and all. And I was like, I can't do it without people participating, signing up. And,
Right.
I'm running them, but, if people don't play, then it's kind of doesn't happen.
That's been a common theme with everyone on here today who's running the leagues. Like we just have an idea and put them together, but it only happens because people are willing to stand up and support and, reach into their own pockets and give generously. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume, following the theme of the entire show so far, that the IDP Invitational is going to grow again next year. More people, hopefully more of a charitable contribution comes out of it as we continue to go forward with this and grow IDP. I know that's very dear to you guys.
I think we had a lot of beginners. We had an entire division, I think, of beginners. And speaking of beginners, I had to mention, I think you're going to have this gentleman on later, J Mike. I've been begging him to do IDP for a couple years now, and he actually won his eliminator, the 50 Shades of Drunk eliminator. So I said, see, now you just got to join like 50 IDP leagues, and
Yeah, no, for sure. We wanted to set out as like a secondary goal of creating some sort of community with this charity league where those that were new or wanted to try IDP for the first time wouldn't get thrown into, I guess, the fire and be going up against right away, people that have been doing it for 10 years. So we set this league up in a way where there were, for this year, 8 divisions, and then 2 of those were just for beginners, and 2 of those were just for people that have been pretty much, I'd say, experts. So we kind of, push the guys aside that, might be, really good, and the people that are just starting out, so that the competition was fair and that they were able to kind of get a first feel of IDP, and the experts were able to still feel challenged. But I do want to shout out our 2. Well, one of these guys is the potential winner. We got Brad Lovelock, who came in at 392 and 6/10 of a point in the week 16, and Dean Pushard, who is at 391.14. So 90.92 is the difference, which in this league, you drop a tackle, you have a stat correction of a sack or a half sack, that'll drop you easily that much. So we're waiting until tomorrow to crown the victor, but it's been a drama-filled final for the first year of IDP Invitational.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we go from one of your first year things that have happened to something that Sal, Kevin, Steve, Steve's chair, you guys all know about growing something from modest beginnings here. And I don't think you guys ever imagined the SFB Podathon taking off and becoming this monster that it has become now.
Yeah, listen, when we started it, much similar to what George and Jason were saying, we had to essentially beg people to come on the first year. We were dead set on doing 24 hours from the start. We knew that was what was going to get people's attention because we're not that good or talented or smart. And we knew we needed something to get attention. So when Steve and Kevin and I started to talk about it, we hit up everybody we knew, anybody that was a decent name in the fantasy industry, and some good ones came on. And mostly it was just, the backbone guys of the fantasy community, like ourselves, guys who are on fantasy Twitter and keep it going every day. And we thought maybe by year 5, we had an idea. We thought by maybe year 5 would be something really special. Well, I mean, I don't think I even have to say year 3 was amazing. We raised $42,000. I every time I say that number, I'm stunned, and it's going to continue to grow. It's spawned other shows. I'm not sitting here trying to take too much credit for anything. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't think the word Podathon was even out there that much before we did that. And it's being used now, and I think it's awesome. I want more. I want more people to do it. If we've taken Scott's message and grown it bigger through our Podathon and been a part of something that's going to explode, then we're a small part of it and happy to be a part of it. But I couldn't do any of it without Kevin and Steve, and I've been podcasting with these guys for 6 years, and I love doing it with them. I don't get to do it enough with them. So what's up, jackasses? How you doing?
Why is it that every time I see Sal joining anywhere, there's something about a dick punch somewhere on the screen? Like it's just, is that his thing? Is that it? Is that all he's known for? Is the dick punch?
It's either a dick punch or a throat punch. It's one or the two.
Jason told me to go to bed, so I threatened to punch him in the dick. It's kind of what it is. And shout out to Dan and Nate for what they've done. They've both contributed to the Podathon in the past. Dan, I think, had some god-awful middle of the night hour this
I think it was
year.
3 a.m.
Yeah, but he came on, and he's a trooper. And listen, you come on at 3 a.m., next year you get to come on like maybe 1 a.m. You know what I'm saying? You move up.
You paid your dues.
That was Dingus's slot, I think, the 1 a.m. or 11, something like that.
Well, I basically gave my spot away. I just sat there in the corner. I might as well have been in Steve's chair. I just sat there the whole time.
Whoa. Don't put yourself up on such a pedestal there, Dingus, all right? The chair is pretty far up there.
Well, I think Bob makes a good point here. I think that chair has actually been upgraded too, hasn't it?
Well, you know what? Every once in a while, I have to take a little break from Podathon Chair. This is my side chair. We hang out when Podathon Chair's at work, so hopefully they're not watching. We're just gonna have to keep rolling with this one.
You know what's amazing to me is that Steve has a better chair for when he's not sitting in it for 24 hours. The 24-hour chair is like old and rickety. It can't be comfortable at all, and yet he's got this like nice plush leather chair for 10, 15-minute spots.
The 24 hours is a true gauntlet. So I put myself through all the rigors. I get myself inebriated. I sober up. I go through the entire cycle of discomfort. And so the chair is all part of that. It's an entire theme.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Steve drinks. He actually drinks throughout a lot of the Podathon, which I don't even comprehend. He's such a skinny, twerpy little man. But he's got bigger balls than me to take on something like that. I'm over here with water and energy drinks and fruits and berries, just trying to survive for 24 hours, and he's pounding down IPAs. It's crazy. I almost said IDPs.
And of course, red vines, right? Red vines are really what keeps Sal and I going.
Plenty of red vines.
I know it's a grind for sure. It's tough. But it couldn't be more fun. Not just to podcast with these two guys for 24 straight hours, but the amount of support that we get through it, and not just talking about the donations. I mean, you're talking about different people every hour, every half hour, every segment that we do is just lit up by whoever jumps on, no matter what time it is. And to me, that's the most amazing part, right? Like that's what I can never comprehend as we're going through it. You'd think you're going to get tired. You start getting into those wee hours, and yet, then we get the Aussie guys coming in at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever it is that they come on, and they're blowing fireworks up. They're lighting things on fire, and they're just keeping us going. And it's like that with every guest that comes on. No one seems tired. No one seems, unhappy to be in their time slot. So it's always a blast.
Speaking back to when we said the first year we had to beg people to come on, and some people came on twice. I think Memphis did 2 separate appearances. The first year we had basically already booked for an hour, and then this past year I had to shrink everybody down to 30-minute segments. And honestly, the amount of shows and people and writers that want to come on next year, there might be a bunch of 15-minute segments just to get everybody involved, because I think that's the idea, is to promote everyone, and everyone who wants to have a part in this should have a part in it. It shouldn't be exclusive for big names. I mean, like I mentioned at the top, the backbone guys of the small shows, guys like you, Dingus, Lewis, all the stuff that you do, that, man, you were with us from year one with the SFB Podathon, and he's always either before or after those Aussie guys, because it's the same time zone, obviously. And it's so if you want your 15-minute time slots, you better start DMing me now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because you guys mentioned with the Podathon, you want to get as many people in there as you possibly can. The backbone of fantasy football, so to speak. And like even this show, I was like, okay, I started, it's going to be only a 2-hour thing. And then it streaked up to 3 hours. And I was like, okay, no, now we got to do 10-minute segments so we can try and get as many people on, because you guys mentioned it, like with the Podathon, there's so many people that want to do good. So many people that want to do some sort of charity aspect to their leagues, donate and doing weird things to raise money for and awareness for certain causes. And I think we have about 30 people that are going to pop on tonight, and that's been kind of the overlying message, is there's a lot of people doing good, and you guys have done a lot of good with that Podathon. It's almost like it's hand in hand with the Scott Fish Bowl. People get excited for the Scott Fish Bowl and that invite every year, and then everyone gets excited to listen to the Podathon. It's one or the other. You can't have one now, I think, without the other.
Yeah, and we're not stupid. We kind of knew that. The idea.
Amazing how that worked out, right? It's such a coincidence.
So I've told the story before. We've been on other shows where we've told the story, but not everybody's heard it. We were so excited to get into the SFB 480, which was the first year we were in, which was 5. Would be technically SFB 5 if you're doing it by numbers, and we saw the excitement on Twitter wrapped around the Scott Fish Bowl, and we were like, wow, I mean, there's something to this. And Steve, Kevin, and I were going to do like maybe a 1-hour show around the draft, to kick off of the draft the following year. And we didn't do it. And we're like, damn it, we missed out on it again. And we saw the buzz again. And I said, we have to get something together for next year. And that off season, we were like, oh man, telethons. Those were the things when we were kids growing up. It's old guys like me and Dingus. Those were things that were on TV when they raised money. They were on for 24 hours. They were variety shows. And I said, hey guys, let's do a 24-hour Podathon. And these guys were on board right away. So yeah, it was born out of that Scott Fish Bowl excitement. So if you're at home and playing that Scott Fish Bowl drink game, I've said it 3 times now. Somebody brought up earlier in the show, but yeah, man, it's fun to be synonymous with that, because that is, in my opinion, the official kickoff of the fantasy football season every year.
And probably even more important than anything is we finally got an SFB Podathon T-shirt out of the whole thing this year.
Yes,
beautiful.
That's
Beautiful T-shirt too.
As our beautiful
Very
model is showing off for us.
It'd be nice if someone that had any kind of musculature whatsoever would wear it, but
Yeah, no.
We need to get Anthony back on and get him to wear it.
Yes, Anthony is all jacked up. Anthony Savino's a mighty man. Yeah, and I tell Scott, I joke with Scott because they made quite a few thousands of dollars off of those SFB T-shirts this year, and I've told them that at least 70% of that came from Podathon T-shirts.
At least,
You know that.
At least.
Nobody wants regular SFB T-shirts.
Don't fact check me here, but I want to say I can't remember what the number was, but maybe you guys know better. How much RotoWare ended up donating through those T-shirt sales was that like 40,000 or something? It was a ridiculous number.
I could definitely get you the number if Steve and Kevin want to try to say something interesting.
Jesus, that's not really Steve's.
Well,
yeah,
come on. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like
I mean, you can say something. It doesn't necessarily need to be interesting, but we'll take what you've got.
Let's hear it, Steve. I'm kind of intrigued.
You're right. It's not going to be interesting. I will just say this year was really awesome for everything that Sal has mentioned, but we were able to raise so much money this year that they were able to distribute it all. And so me and Kevin were able to go to our local communities and to go shopping and distribute some of that money and donate to our local communities. And so that was really awesome being able to partake in that for the first time. I know Sal had done it last year. He was really adamant about getting us the opportunity to do that. So just very grateful to be a part of the SFB Podathon in general, but going that next level and actually seeing, the fruits of our labor of staying up for 24 hours is really cool. So that I'm just really happy about that.
Oh, that was somewhat good, Steve. Nice job. I'll give you an entertaining story. So my daughter turned 5 today, and she's starting to get into like watching YouTube and which is awful for children. For any of you people who have kids, it's awful when they start watching YouTube because you got to watch all these terrible videos. But anyway, so tonight before bed, she wanted to watch a YouTube video to kind of calm down, and she starts. We're put it up on the TV, and we're scrolling through her videos or whatever, and all of a sudden the SFB Podathon segment 3 from this year pops up on like the feed of things that she could watch. She's like, "Oh, that's you. Let's watch that." And so I put it on. She made it all of like 2 minutes before she's like, "This is super boring." Asked me to put on like Peppa Pig or something. So
yeah,
it was.
Peppa Pig is a great show, so I get that.
I mean, to our credit, that's hour 16. So starting right there is not really the best time for her to jump in.
I mean, it was Mike Wright, the Hitman. You figure, I don't know. It was a good. I thought it was a good start, but what are you going to
do? So Kevin's daughter, it was known as Baby Falafel. So Fantasy Football Funhouse was originally the Falafel House, Fantasy Life App Fantasy Football League, and yes, as George is pointing out, today is Baby Falafel's birthday. So happy birthday to Kevin's daughter.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so we call her Baby Falafel because when we were first, was year
it was the first year of the league.
First year of the league, my my wife had our baby, and there it is. Yeah. So she's baby. She was the first-born baby from our group.
Yep. So. I thought you were going to say she was conceived in a shawarma house.
Well, no.
Well, I had the number from RotoWare somewhere in here, and I'm scrolling through the chat, so I don't have it exactly, but it was sizable, very, very sizable. As Steve pointed out,
sizable.
We got to spread the money out around the country this year. We have a chat with Scott and John Bosch and Heath Cummings and George Krikos and Matt Price and the gentleman from RotoWare and us and everybody who did the shopping and seeing all the pictures firsthand and seeing the money get distributed in there. And it's really super awesome. And I know I break George's chops. He's up on the screen right now. George, you definitely can get 15 minutes next year on a Podathon at 3 a.m. You got that for sure. Maybe 3:15 a.m. just to make it a little bit more difficult from you. But yeah, man, props to everybody who you've had on here, guys, and to yourselves for putting this together. It's just so awesome to see it carry throughout the whole year now. You used to be like, we got to enjoy it in July and then we spent some money in December, but it's a 12-month a year process of charity through fantasy football. It's no longer the 3-month football season, 4-month. It's great. It's awesome to be a part of.
Well, I think that one of the things what I take away from all this is with your guys' Podathon, you've seen, we had Jack Humphrey on earlier. He's done a Podathon, so to speak, and now he's doing that Super Bowl Podathon. And he mentioned you guys right away. And I know you guys probably talked, Sal, back and forth a little bit about everything that goes on. So I want to know, because when I watch this Podathon, the bathroom breaks are pretty minimal for the most part. So I need to know what is going on because I've been sitting here for almost 2 hours and I'm like I'm dying here already. I'm
Adult diapers. I mean, adult diapers. I'm clearly wearing them. I'm wearing them now. I've only been on here for 50 minutes. I've only wet my pants twice.
Sal goes the adult diaper route. I've gone the old tailgating trick where I actually have a little tube with a bag that's right underneath my feet. So I just anytime I need to let it go and you're good.
Yeah.
So
I will just say I don't know what you're talking about because evidently I've taken so many bathroom breaks. My chair is more popular than I am. So
I mean, I see you got a guy popping on now. You want to talk about a guy? I'm going to tell you how generous he's been. Every year of the SFB Podathon, Bob Long has given away his consistency guide to anybody who has donated over $25. The man literally gives away thousands of dollars a year in publications because he wants that in people's hands. He wants it out there. And Bob, I'm happy that you came on while we were still on. I get to say thank you again for all that. And he's going to talk about all that stuff, man. The King's Classic. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Thank you.
Of,
welcome, Bob.
Bob does.
No, you guys, you do an amazing job, Sal, and I'm honored to be a part of this and honored to be a part of anything where we can utilize this amazing community that we have to do for others. That's really what this is all about. I mean, you know, we all started playing fantasy for the fun of playing fantasy, but the fact that we can take this to this level makes me proud to be part of this community. That's for sure.
Well, I know Sal mentioned that everyone who donated X amount of dollars automatically got a publication at the SFB Podathon, but that's not the only time you were giving away these publications in other leagues. And like, do you even have a rough ballpark on how many publications you gave away in 2020?
I never keep track. To me, it doesn't matter. I give away as many as I can give away if it's raising money or doing something for good for others. I don't even count. The only thing I count is what I actually sell. And I can, that's on my little chart over my head. But what I give away, I honestly have never counted, and it doesn't matter whether it's 50, 500, or 5,000. I don't care. It's for a good cause. It's for some reason or another to help somebody that needs something more than we need. And if my little magazine can make that much of a difference, then great. I'm just giddy. So yeah, thank you.
Well, and I know this is touches base with you that you're in our playoff league last year. You won some money.
I did.
One of the things we decided to do is we always have that charitable aspect to our thing. So we donated X amount of dollars to a member of our community, and Bob goes, you know what? Give him this too as well. And he threw some more money into that pot that we donated, and that just kind of speaks to the type of person you are, Bob. Not only the publication that you're giving away through all these fundraisers, so to speak, these charitable podathons, charity leagues, this and that, but your person as well.
Like I said, anything I can do to help. I'm blessed that I have my wife and I both make good livings, and so we like to share, whether it's in our own community here or me sharing with our the fantasy community. So like I said, anytime I can help somebody out, that's that just means the world to me, and I'm glad I can just be there for them. So
Bob, if you want to do some real charity work, can you get Steve to be good at fantasy football for one season?
The guide is all the best I can do. From there, somebody, you got to read it, you got to follow it. Now this year, let me be the first to say, if you found consistency in anything in this world, there's in 2020, God bless you. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. To those who won championships and did well, good for you. It wasn't all that great a year for me. Way too many injuries, way too many scenarios. I had Barkley in so many leagues, and I mean, it's just I won't even go into it. I think you're like, tell us what we don't know, Bob.
Well, if nothing else, Steve is consistent at not being good, Kevin. So
there you go. True. He is.
Well,
got to have
consistency. That is consistency.
It's bad.
Yeah, I think Travis Kelce should be the poster child for the consistency guide moving forward. I think he is the only person who can put his hand up and say he was truly consistent this year.
Yeah, I mean him. Yeah, not too many this year. Dalvin Cook, him, Patrick Mahomes. There's some wide receivers as well, but it's
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. Tyreek. Like I said, basically draft the entire Chiefs lineup. Even Hilaire with
consistent until he got hurt. So, yeah, just get all the Chiefs you can get. That's the best way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, there you go, Steve. Pro tip for you.
Draft the Chiefs. That's it.
I mean, I just want to say as well, Bob, we've got you on here. Nice shirt, by the way. I was very fortunate enough. It was a privilege to be invited into the Kings Classic, and Bob, I just wanted to give you the floor and tell everyone about the Kings Classic, how it came about, and yet again just another story about Bob being generous. We raised a bunch of money through the Kings Classic, and we're able to donate that to someone who was having one of the toughest years you could imagine.
Oof.
So it was a true privilege to be able to be a part of that. So I just wanted to say thank you, Bob, and give you the platform to just let people know about the Kings Classic.
So the Kings Classic mentally has been in my head for probably, 10, 15 years. Not in what it was called, but what it was going to be. And the idea was that I live in Canton, Ohio. I live 5 minutes away from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I've lived here all my life. When I got into the fantasy world, I said, someday, and so one of my other fun things I get to do once a year is drive the Hall of Famers when they come in for Hall of Fame weekend to Canton every second weekend in August. And so by being there and being part of the Hall of Fame committee for 30 years of doing that, it just mentally in my head said, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could have the biggest, best fantasy players in the world come to Canton, Ohio, and have like this ultimate of ultimate expert leagues. And so after numerous years of kind of talking the Hall of Fame into doing this, they finally said, yeah, okay, fine, you can do it. But, you got to have to, we need to make this big. How are we going to make this big? And I said, well, if I get the biggest people, then hopefully I can go to like a Sirius XM and bring them in, becomes national. And it just grew from there. So the short story is I finally had the idea, finally got the Hall of Fame to buy into it, contacted Mike Clay and those guys who I knew, of course, through the industry. And the funny thing was, within 5 minutes, Mike Clay sent me an email forwarded from Brad Evans, who had sent him a very similar email the week before, which said, you know what, we really should do this, some kind of cool national big fantasy expert contest, but we just need a cool place to have it. And I said, I got the place. So between Brad and I and everybody coming together 3 years ago, we started it, had our first one there at the Hall. It was 2 divisions of 12 teams each. And again, we had ESPN, Yahoo, CBS, the biggest names we could get there to come to it. Year 2, we expanded to 14 teams in 2 leagues. And we called it the Kings Classic because we wanted to kind of pay homage to the gentleman who started fantasy football at the Kings X Bar in Oakland, California, when they had the first draft, and Jim Brown and George Blanda were the first 2 people picked in that draft. And so we named them, of course, the Jim Brown division and the George Blanda division. And then, so we did that for 2 years. And then, of course, 2020 came and screwed up everything. So we said, okay, we're going to have to do this online. And I said, there are some really good fantasy people outside the United States. Why don't we create an international division, since we're going to do all these drafts online anyway, and let's try to get, at least, and my goal was, my goal was to have an entire international division, but we only had so many we could get on board. And then we had some people we wanted to kind of bring in that were new to the industry, new faces, new places, that kind of stuff, like Ian Hartids, who went to Pro Football Focus and that kind of stuff. So anyway, long story short here, we put together the Len Dawson division, and we got some of you gentlemen to be a part of it from Canada and Mexico and Australia. And
you really lowered the bar, Bob. You really lowered the bar for entry.
Hey, just because it's below the equator doesn't mean it's a lower bar. It just means it's below the equator. But no, so, I asked you guys were helpful to be a part of this. And hey, 3 out of the 4 international teams made it to the finals. So good job, guys. Well done. That shows you that you guys are worthy, and I'm proud of you that you all did very well in those divisions. And only Ian was the only American could come through with a victory there, but the other three were international. And so there it is. And, hopefully 2021, we will get back to Canton, the international division, and Dawson division. We're going to see what we're going to do there. Some of the guys have said they'd like to come to Canton and still draft online. We will see how that all comes together, and we'd love to make that happen. I mean, I'd love for all the international guys to come here, but I'm not sure all of them can. So we'll see how that all comes about. But that's kind of how it came to be. We wanted to be sure there was, just like everything a lot of us do here in the fantasy world, we wanted to have some charitable aspect to it. So there's $100 per team. $50 was going to a charity, and $50 was going into the pot for the champions and the runners-up. First year, we gave the money to the organization that supports Hall of Famers who are down on their luck and needs the struggle. And I forget the name. It's like Heroes, Hall of Fame Heroes or something like that. We gave the money to that the first year. The second year and the third year, and if I can get this without breaking up, this is going to be tough. But Rob Tuzette, who is an executive producer for SiriusXM, came the first year, and right before the second year draft, Rob's wife gave birth to their second daughter and died a week later. That was in 2019. Okay, and if you think that can get any worse than that, hold on to your hats, kid, and get your Kleenexes because it's going to get ugly. Last year, this past summer in July, right before our next draft was going to happen, the baby that she had 11 months prior died in its sleep. So this poor man lost his wife and his baby daughter within less than a year. Breathe. I don't know how anybody gets through that. When we brought it up to the league and to all the guys in the Kings Classic, everybody just gave all the money. It was unanimous. All whatever was $5,000 some dollars, even more money was raised, was given. We gave it all to Rob. It doesn't cover what he lost, but holy cow. So anyway, Rob has been a recipient of that, and we hope we don't have to give any more money to Rob. We hope his life could get. He's got him and just his 4-year-old daughter now. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. It breaks me up every time I see it, but that's what the money was put together for. We never intended for that to go to Rob, but certainly, how do you not say no to that situation? So that's what the charity was about, and that's what Kings Classic is about. So. There's my story. Sorry for the tears.
No, at all. Thank you for sharing, Bob.
I remember when that came into an email chain. So one person mentioned it, and it was no question, anything. It was done. That's how it was going to work out.
And Rob has thanked me 1,000 times, and I said, we all wish we could do more. We wish you could bring them back, but nothing you can do. So anyway, that's the Kings Classic, and like I said, we're hoping that it will all happen all live in 2021. And then the next day, we're planning on doing the Fantasy Football Expo that we did last 2019, the day after on Sunday. So we're planning on August 14th for the Kings Classic, Sunday, August 15th for the Expo in 2021. And hope all of you can come to Canton, Ohio. It's really exciting. They have a brand new remodeled hotel downtown that's football themed. We're going to hold the Expo, and everybody's going to stay there. And so there's a bar, restaurant. We don't have to drive. We don't have to go anywhere. It'd be awesome. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm working on that with them right now to get everybody, blocks of rooms and the place all set up. So we're really excited about that part.
Bob, I got the vaccine yesterday, so I'm coming regardless. If nobody else can,
I already got the virus, so I don't care. So I'm immune. I'm good.
You and me, pal.
Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, I definitely have this date circled down already. If I can get down from Canada down to Canton, it's going to be done. It's a done deal.
All right. Yep.
Sure.
Well, plan like so put it on your calendar. Weekend of August 14th to 15th. So that is a definite at this point. The Hall of Fame itself weekend will be, I think, the week before August 7th and 8th. So,
Matt, I know you got to move on to a lot of other people, so I just want to stick around. I want to thank one more person before we go for the for the SFB Podathon, a guy who I didn't know that well who stepped up, Dave Wright, FF_Spaceman, stepped up this year. I had never spoken to Dave before, and he said, Sal, can I help in any way? I'm like, yeah, sure. I need help organizing sponsors. Dave took upon himself organizing the sponsors, getting reads, putting them in order, giving me a list, giving me all the reads. He scheduled it. He organized it. He helped collect the money from the sponsors that donated. He was as big a part. He's the fourth member of that SFB team, as big a part as me, Kevin, and Steve could have been. And he absolutely needs to get his recognition. More people should follow him. More people should give that guy praise. Bob, again, a heartbreaking story. I was tearing up about stuff before you came on, and that made it even crazier. But love all you guys. I love the guys that are up next. They've been doing some great work too, so I'd love to just get out of their way and let them have their time. Thank you guys, Matt, Lewis, everyone, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Kevin.
And thanks to all you guys for
Happy
everything
New
you
Year,
do.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah. It's got to go up, right? It's got to get better, doesn't it?
I'm glad they brought up Dave here on that SFB, because when we did when we did the Dynasty Viper sponsorship, he actually had the whole thing written out, the sponsorship thing. If I would have written it up, and these next two people can testify, there have been a lot of words, y'all and a, thrown in the whole we are truly international, truly global tonight. We hit the UK and Germany early on. We obviously got our host here, Lewis, from Australia. But now we've got 3 Canadians in the same room, and boy, the stuff that Josh and Will were able to do.
Outnumbered.
We truly got an international division here. The things that they were able to do, I'm going to let Will start us off there, because he kind of took the ball and started going, and then Josh just absolutely took off with it as well. Like the things that they were able to do. I want you guys to talk about these leagues that you guys started in Canada and where we see these things going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, Dingus. Thanks so much for having Josh and I on, and Bob, thanks for telling that story, man. That was completely heartfelt. I felt it in here too, and it just makes what we're doing just that much more important on a day to day. So thanks for sharing that with us. And the league that I started was the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's been a ton of fun. And really, where this came out of was in COVID. We as Canadians actually connected on the fantasy football world on Twitter. I think that I can speak collectively for most Canadians out there is that we didn't know that there was this big fantasy football community that existed. And during COVID, this group that was put together, this Canadian DM group put together by Travis Seal and Ty McLaughlin of True North Fantasy Football, really just started to bring together all of these crazy Canucks. And I said to myself, you know what? We all have a million different dynasty leagues going on, some really cool startups that we started, some different leagues that we've jumped into with other Canadians. Hey, I'm a dad. I got a little toddler at home that's tearing through everything that I put down. And I know that other guys like Josh is the same. I don't even know how many Dingus has run around. I don't think too many toddlers anymore, but I know there's a ton of
I don't
kids
think
that-
Dingus knows how many he has running around.
I'm pretty sure he's lost count at this point.
I think right now we're at 9 in the house.
So I said, you know what? Let's do something that's low maintenance. Let's have some fun with it. Let's get a little crazy. Let's do a super flex tight end premium best ball league. That first league of 16 on MFL filled up literally within minutes. And I said, okay, well, why don't we start a couple different conferences here? All said and done, by season launch, we had 48 teams going, playing for over 40 different charities across Canada, which is super exciting. To date, we've raised over $1,000, all going towards charity. Happy to announce that Grady Sass is the winner of the inaugural Canadian National Best Ball Champions League. So kudos to him. He had a hell of a team all season long. But the most important thing here for everybody who's listening is that we've done some good. So every single champion in the league was playing for a charity of their choice. Grady was playing for Hockey for Youth, which is an organization that teaches kids that are new to Canada how to play hockey, which in Canada is actually a pretty important life skill to have, and a great way to meet people and integrate into Canadian society. So we're donating $500 to Hockey for Youth. So a great cause, teaching new Canadians in Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa how to play hockey and get into their communities and teach them some life skills. And then the remainder of the proceeds that were raised from the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League are all going to KMH, which is a cause here in Toronto and throughout Canada that is dedicated to mental health and addiction research. So all said and done, it's been a heck of a ride. We've had a lot of fun. Monkey Knife Fight jumped in right away. They saw what we were doing, love what we were doing. They are our title sponsor, sponsored our trophy. We also have the Breakout Finder, True North Fantasy Football, and Viridian Global all have thrown their hats in and sponsored this thing to get out some great prizes for the conference winners and to everybody on the podium. Looking forward to next season. We've already got the wait list going. You know, I appreciate all the support that Matt has given, that Josh has given, everybody in the Canadian community to get this not only to people on Twitter. This is where we live and breathe every day, but we want to bring every Canadian that has any interest in playing in this league, whether you're online or offline, to come and play for all of these great causes across our country. So the plan is for next year is we've got the wait list going, and I am envisioning that this will hover right around that 100 team mark for 2021, with all money raised going back to the charities that we're playing for. So that's a little bit about the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League. If you want to find out more, our stuff is on the True North site. We've got a Twitter handle, super easy to follow, at CNBBCL, and you can find out all the details there. Anybody that is interested in signing up, please just DM me, email me, bestballchampions@gmail.com. Get on that wait list. Next season, we're moving to donate what you can. Hey, this COVID thing is absolutely wrecked a lot of economies, and people don't have jobs. We get that. You know, even the $25 that we set out for an entry fee, we just said, you know what, whatever you guys can donate, please just do it. And we know it's going to a good cause. So that's a little bit about the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League. Josh is doing an awesome job with the Canada Cup. Hell of a lot of fun, and looking forward to hearing what Josh has to say.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Dynasty Vipers, thanks for having me on. Real honor to just get a chance to talk about something that's been kind of near and dear to me for the last few years. As you can tell by my Twitter handle at Fantasy Football Gives Back, Fantasy Football is a little long, so we shortened that to FF Gives Back. I've been playing for 10 years. Kind of got tired of trying to find random people to play with. So this whole mission of mine was to try to do something that gave back to the community around me and to this ever-growing population of fantasy football players. I found myself really enjoying teaching new people how to get into the game, and then now finding a way to run a league that gives us an opportunity to do what we love, which is play fantasy football, but also give back to the communities around us. Over the years on Twitter, I've been really inspired by what the Scott Fishbowl has been doing, but I'm Canadian. And it's in Canadian nature to do something that's just Canadian. So like Will said, we all linked up in the True North Fantasy group chat on Twitter. And as any sort of bantering in a group chat goes, there's always talk of who's better at this, who's better than that. And in Canada, there is nothing like the bantering that goes between the East Coast, the West Coast, and everyone ganging up on Toronto. So what ended up happening was, oh, the East Coast guys are better, the West Coast guys are better. No, Toronto's better at everything. So the Canada Cup was created. And because Will already picked up on the best ball format, which is pretty much draft only, and then set it, forget it for the rest of the year, I wanted to take an approach of let's do redraft. Let's get that joy of drafting, which we were all looking forward to during COVID and all the lockdown that was happening. But we also wanted to give everyone an opportunity to set lineups, to make trades, to do the waiver wire. So that's how Canada Cup was born. It was supposed to be East versus West. It ended up being East versus West versus Toronto, as it sounded in the group chat. We ended up with 42 teams. Interestingly enough, I'm new at all of this, and I kind of messed up the scheduling in a little bit. So what was supposed to be just Toronto scheduling and just East Coast scheduling, just West Coast scheduling, didn't really come to fruition as I was setting it up. So it was kind of a little bit of a free-for-all. And the joke was the Central Division, which was supposed to be just Toronto, only one team made it to the finals, to the playoffs. So jokes on Toronto, I guess. We had similar setup to the Best Ball Championship, where everyone was playing for a charity. We had, about 20 plus charities being represented. Some popular ones were Hospital for Sick Kids, which was in Toronto. CAMH, which is the prime beneficiary for the National Best Ball League, was one of the popular ones as well. But it came down to our final between at Mobile Marty and at Doug Ben 1. They were playing for the Canadian Women's Emergency Shelter, the Calgary Women's Emergency Shelter, in obviously Calgary, and the Parkinson's Research Foundation of Canada. What ended up happening was the two gentlemen in the finals decided, hey, let's split the total donation between these two charities, and it'll be the winner that gets the donation in their name. So what ended up happening was at Mobile Marty pulled off a narrow victory by less than a point. Was able to hold off Cole Beasley and Jacoby Myers in last night's Bills Patriots game. Won it by less than a point, so he's going to be able to donate over $1,000 to the Calgary Women's Shelter and Parkinson's Research of Canada. So it was a great deal. We're already seeing tweets flying around saying, I'm in next year. So we're excited to do this again. It was a great experience, really, really fun getting to know everyone in this unknown, previously untapped Canadian fantasy football community, and it'll be great to do it again.
Awesome. That's brilliant, and I love that the two people competing in the final agreed to split the money between the two charities. I love that. That's so cool to hear.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's about as
doesn't get much more Canadian than that.
It's most stereotypical Canadian as you could possibly get on that. Bob,
I just want to say, again,
quick
thanks
here?
for letting me be a part of this, being on it, and guys from True North, again, congratulations on winning your championship there in the Kings Classic. We're honored that you guys could be a part of it. And it's always with any charity, anything I can do to help you guys, with giving away, consistency guys next year or whatever. And if you're doing some live drafts up there, do you guys do it live or is it all online?
It was online.
Well, this
was
year's
online.
online, but
COVID.
But anyway, at some point I need to get to Toronto anyway. So because I've never been there. My wife always wants to come up anyway. That's
It's the center of the
I mean, I want to go
universe.
all over Canada. So maybe when I retire, I'll just go onslaught from all the way across. But anyway, thanks again, Matt and Lewis and everybody for having me be a part of this, guys. Best of luck, and hopefully we'll see everybody in Canton, Ohio in August. Until then, Happy New Year, and take care, and God bless everybody.
Thank you, Bob.
Awesome.
Happy New Year. Thank you for coming on.
You bet. Take care.
We just talked about two very unique Canadian leagues that were started up this year, and now we're going to turn it over to probably the one man who's made more unique leagues than anyone else in the fantasy community. And you talk about best ball. We got John Bosch joining us now. John, floor is yours, man.
He's on. I think you're on mute.
There we go. All right. I'll say it again. Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome that you guys are doing this. Really, really cool.
Well, we just felt that this is something that, and I know charity, a lot of your eliminators, everything you do has that charitable aspect to it, that giving some sort of prize money to charity. And I didn't think there was anyone better than yourself to bring on to a FF Honors show for everything you've done in that community itself there, John.
I appreciate it. Yeah, the eliminators have grown quite a bit. I have a lot of people to thank for that. I mean, this year I had to bring on some helpers, Matt Price, Russ Fisher, and Alan Hepworth, and they were all great. Of course, it all stems from a guy that I'm guessing has been mentioned once or twice on here, Scott Fish. So he did a great job helping me out as well with not just a platform, but he did a lot of behind the scenes programming to make it so that it was much easier to run the amount of eliminators that there are.
Yeah, you're right. His name has been mentioned once or twice.
I'm sure it's come up just a little bit.
How many eliminators, John, do you know of that you have out there?
This year I actually have it up because I'm trying to get everybody to write down their payment forms so I can pay them all out. And it's not working. It's just the Google Sheet is not loading. I think it was like 140 we did this year of the eliminators. It was a lot. It was definitely more than I was expecting, and they filled faster than I was expecting. That was what really got me this year. I was ready for an increase. Last year we did a little over 100, so I was ready for some sort of an increase just because they've grown every year. They've grown a little bit. 141 it looks like was the final number. So they've grown every year a little bit, but this year people couldn't sign up fast enough, and I literally could not keep up getting the leagues going. So I had to bring in some help, and the guys that jumped in to help me were awesome. They've been asking like every year, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Can I help? Can I help? Finally, this year I was like, hey guys, remember how you keep saying, can I help? Yes, you can.
Yes.
Now
Please.
it's time to pay that off. You're going to regret it.
Doesn't that kind of go to the whole spirit of the fantasy football community? We've talked about Sal, how Dave kind of stepped up for the SFB Podathon. I know there's been hundreds of people volunteer for Scott and the Scott Fishbowl in general. And he's mentioned it. You go out hey, anyone want to help me? And you have people willing to help for these eliminators. And I think that just speaks to the type of people that we have in that fantasy football community willing to help wherever they can. But I don't know about 140 leagues. I'm in 42 myself, and I don't even know what day of the week it is. How do you track 140?
Yeah.
Especially when there's a money involved in that too, and then the charity is involved on that. Like that's gonna be a full-time job in itself.
So I don't have to track anything. It's great. That's the beauty of best ball. All I have to do is collect the money, which that is kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, let's be honest. The money part of any fantasy football league is the worst part. But getting people to pay the entry fee, which people have been, I mean, obviously this year people, like I said, couldn't jump in fast enough. So I didn't have any problems getting the entry fees. And anybody that didn't respond, in a day or two, they just got replaced. And there was always willing participants willing to jump into one more. So all I had to do was send out a tweet, hey, is anybody ready to go for another one right now? And literally it would fill within minutes, and they'd send a payment and the league would be going. So, but overall, I mean, it's not that much work until then it ends. I mean, once the draft gets going, that's it. The draft is going. Like, then it's just up to the people in the league to make their picks, let the league go, and then it's best ball. So nothing else happens until right now. Now I have to go through and pay out all the winners. A big thing this year, I actually cut out the second place prize. In previous years, the second place person has gotten their $10 back. This year, because of everything that was going on, we didn't have a second place prize. And every league not only sent $100 for the toy drive, we sent $10 to a food bank that's close to me called Go Pantry. So every league raised even a little bit more money for charity this year. And nobody missed getting second place prizes. Like, literally nobody cared. So I should have done that a long time ago. I should have done that when I started. 3 years of paying out twice as many prizes that people didn't even care about. And even this year, like, as I'm looking at it, because when I have people write down, how do you want to be paid out? Venmo, PayPal, or just donate it to the next, donate it to Fantasy Cares, which everything that gets donated through Fantasy Cares from the winners, it's just going to go to that food bank. I mean, we do love to push the toy drive, but there's a lot of things that are a little more prevalent right now. Like, we don't need to worry about toys for 2021 just yet. That'll come. We'll get plenty of stuff for that. But right now there's people that need food. So, I kind of made the decision that anybody that says they don't want their winnings and they want it donated, that it's going to Go Pantry. And just looking at the sheet when people select, give me their Venmo or they give me their PayPal, or they can just check the box that says donate it. There have been a lot of very generous people that don't even care about getting their winnings. And honestly, nobody plays in the eliminators to try and win money. That's the beauty of it. I mean, people have really taken on the spirit of just having fun.
It's there to have fun. It's a great draft. All different elements of strategy involved, and there's the take down the celebrity element of it, which is great as well. And people, seek out people. Maybe you had a disagreement with one of them on Twitter about a player. It's like, I know more than you. I'm going to come and jump in your eliminator and put my money where my mouth is. So I think it's absolutely tremendous. They're a ton of fun. I've got to jump in way more next year. So I think we're going to aim for 200 eliminators.
Oh my God.
Next year, John?
It might happen. I would not. I don't think it'll happen, but I didn't think we'd get to 140 this year. I kind of was thinking it would be about 120 spread out over a month. Because usually I try and do these in June, because then July is SFB, these are a little bit of an appetizer leading into that at this point, So I kind of thought I would be doing about 120 spread over a month. And we ended up doing, what did I say? What it was, 140 or something?
141, yeah.
And it was, I think from start to finish, it was like 2.5 to 3 weeks by the time, start to finish of signing up. The drafts weren't all complete just yet, but they all filled in that short of a time span. So it was crazy. And I probably could have kept going and adding more. People had a hunger to keep doing more, but I literally I couldn't. So
you couldn't.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what to expect. I think we'll easily hit 150 next year, but I don't know what could happen. They really do seem to have been adopted by the fantasy community in a great way. So, Bob Gilchrist, you're going to be helping out if it's 200, buddy. He comments, yes, 200. I have your phone number, bud. You're going to get a message when we get to 200.
It's awesome, and it's not just the the eliminators that you're running as well. The concept of eliminators has spread out, and people, we had Peter get on before doing IDP eliminators. Other people are taking up the mantle to run eliminator leagues, and it's just a common theme that we've had through all of our guests is someone sees something, they have an idea, they change it, they get inspired by it, and then they go out and create their own thing. So I just think it's absolutely awesome, the eliminators leagues that you've been running. I certainly love playing in them, and I look forward to joining many more next year.
They're a lot of fun. I mean, they're so easy. It's just I mean, the draft is what you have so much fun in there. And I mean, like you said, there is a celebrity in quotes, and I mean, I will say on their behalf, the celebrities have been just awesome. So many of them are so interactive during the draft. I run a Twitter DM for every single league. That is literally the hardest thing to set up, because I have to create a DM for every single league. And that's what I had to bring in some people to help out with, because Twitter will only allow me to start so many direct messages in a day before they block you from doing it. So Twitter thought I was a spam bot. I had to start so many of these.
I'm guessing 140 is kind of over that limit.
140 in that short of a time. I think I could usually do 10 in a day, and then it would be nope, you can't add all these people at once. I could DM one person and then add a person and then add a person, and I could add individually one by one until I got the full league. But man, that took forever. That was a pain in the neck. So that's where I okay, if I start 40 leagues today, I need to bring in 3 other people so that everybody can start these DMs. And that was the biggest challenge this year, was getting all that to be done. But once we were able to do it, we figured out a process, and it was able to go over pretty smoothly. So there's that crazy guy.
Look who dropped in.
What's going on?
Hey Scott, how are you, man?
Doing good. Just my son was sleeping in this room with the computer, so I just had to pick him up and throw him in his bedroom to be able to pop on.
Throwing them in bedrooms, man. These Minnesotans, they just throw people around.
Yeah, you know it.
Following along. If we were playing a drinking game, every time your name got brought up, Scott, in this broadcast so far, Lewis will be passed out right now. Luckily, he's been kind of taking it pretty easy. But John, I did some quick math, and no one's ever accused me of being the smartest person around. But that $10 that you are that second prize money over that 140 leagues, that's like $1,400 to the food bank. So that's fantastic in itself. That seems like a no-brainer going forward.
Yeah,
absolutely. Those waiting lists. I was on one of those waiting lists. I'm in one of these leagues. I still don't know the rules of the league yet, but I'm in it. So there.
Sign me up.
Nice.
Who's the guy in the yeah, maybe you heard his name a couple of times. Thank you for jumping in, Scott. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome. This is very awesome what you guys are doing tonight. I saw the lineup. I can't wait to watch the entire show tomorrow.
We've had some. Go ahead.
The intro off the beginning because Zach Reed comes in and gives us a fantastic melody to start the show.
Nice.
So we talk about everyone in here. There's so many professionals that have come and done great things. Well, we've also got Eric here with us who has the charity Pro Joes. I keep screwing this up. I always want to say pros versus Joes, but it's like pros and Joes.
Pros with Joes, even.
Pros with Joes, yeah.
Pros with Joes.
Scott is he's our unofficial MFL admin in the background.
Well, I wanted to make sure I got him in there because we're going to get going here, and Eric's just be like, "Okay, what's going on?"
Just that's yeah. But we've had some incredible guests on so far, and it really all comes back. The common theme is everyone taking inspiration from SFB and then taking up the mantle and going out and spreading the love of fantasy football combined with giving back and doing good and adding charitable aspects into their league. So, Scott, I'm sure it's something you're incredibly proud of what you've really started and lit a fire in the belly of the fantasy football community.
I'm constantly so impressed and proud this has become a thing. I mean, this has been such a slow, it seems like it's come on like just a firestorm the last couple of years. But it's been a slow burn for me. I've been going on radio shows and podcasts for like a decade, putting that tagline in at the end, just add a charitable element, take part of your entry fee from your league and add it to charity or whatever. I've been saying that forever, and it feels like the last few years it's just become a really, really big thing, and I love to see it. I love that this is where the community has gone. never would have imagined it, but I'm very happy to see it. It's very awesome.
Yeah,
Eric,
people get hit. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Eric, do I even need to ask where the inspiration for Pros Joes came from? Can you just want to touch base on that a little bit? And I know you guys are still taking some donations right now, even, right?
Yeah. So your pre-qualifier is fair, right? Scott and the work that he did at SFB is certainly a big interlude into how we ended up here. In terms of where the idea came from, it actually comes full circle to our now champion of Pros with Joe's 1, Dave Richard. He offered to use his spot in the Experts League for CBS to co-manage with one of the listeners. So that was really where the concept of everyday players partnering up with these fantasy experts ultimately came from. And then, of course, with what we saw, the good work that Scott's doing with the fishbowl, that's where the idea to kind of put it to the hymnal of charity was ultimately born. Scott, your fingerprints are all over all of these projects and a ton of good work that's happening in the community. And Dingus, you queued it up perfectly. We're actually still raising money through the end of the day tomorrow because Dave is our champion. Renee has won her way into Scott Fishbowl 11. We are a satellite, but also we can now name St. Jude as our championship fundraiser awardee. So we're raising money for another 36 hours. Anybody who donates will get entered into our sweepstakes where we're giving away a ton of cool prizes, a spot in the league next year, premium merch, premium subs, you name it. To get involved, to get donated, you can head to our donor center. It's proswithjoes.rallyyup.com/trophy.
Amazing. And I've just pre-registering for next year, Eric. I'm on the website Pros with Joes right now, and I'm
get on
throwing my hat into the ring. Awesome. And what a great cause as well. St. Jude just it makes me so happy.
Yeah, they're a fantastic organization, and we partnered with I guess it was 51 charities this year. Every pro raise for the charity of their choice in our preseason fundraisers. So I've gotten to know these organizations, and it's just incredible how much they can do with the money that they bring in, and just how far their reach really is. They're really awesome organizations out there, and St. Jude is one of many doing great work.
Excellent.
We've heard a lot of different charities coming throughout the night. I know the Open Bar, they threw their little charity league together this year too, and I think everyone competing in that had their own charity that they were competing for. There's several leagues like that. We just talked to the Canadian boys there. They had the same kind of concept there with their Canadian Best Ball and their Canada Cup. Same thing. Everyone was competing for that one charity specific to them. So it's really kind of funny watching around because you've got both John in here and Scott, who are both instrumental in Best Ball and the Scott Fish Bowl and everything that's kind of spun off of that. Earlier on the show, we had the Baby Bowl guys, the Warrior Bowl guys. If you don't know what's going on in the England right now, the UK, Germany, with the EFFC, the Warrior Bowl, again, I'll mention this again because it's worth mentioning. About $14,000 US they were able to raise this year.
In their first year, it's just incredible. It was truly. It was a great league to play in, and it was so well run, professionally put together. Considering it was the first year they were doing it, and they only decided to start doing it in May. They ran it like a well-oiled machine. It was interactive. They had videos created. It was truly a great experience to be a part of, and they were able to raise a lot of money for a couple of really worthy causes as well. So it's not just and that's sort of been the theme. It's not just in the US where all this money's being raised. It's in countries all around the world, being able to make a difference for organizations and directly in the lives of some people who need it as well. And that was the whole reason, Matt, once we put the show together, is to celebrate that, to shine a light on all of these different people, folks like yourselves who are doing incredible stuff, being generous with your time, being generous with your money, being generally charitable, and really inspiring others to go out and continue to do the same.
That's crazy that it grew that fast over there. I mean, just my experience with the Eliminators, I can't believe how quickly that took off. It started out really small and then just like crazy big out of what seemed like nowhere. And it is awesome to see anybody just raising a bunch of money through something so stupid as fantasy football. Scott, what you started on, honestly, it's awesome. So, kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
There's so many familiar faces here. This is so weird. So weird.
A lot of familiar faces in here. Scott, we heard SFB 11 mentioned. Wait, are we up to SFB? What iteration are we in? I'm lost. I can't keep track.
This is X. 11 is next year.
11 is next year. So it was, tongue in cheek. I said, in a few years' time, you're going to have 800,000 people playing in Scott Fishbowl. Where are we headed to next year? You don't
know. I don't know. It really depends on the live element. If that's even possible by July next year. I have a lot of big plans, but I'm just not sure if they're feasible for next year. We'll see.
Right. All right. Well, we'll stay tuned and look forward to finding out more. But we've got now Russ has just jumped in. Mr. Adas, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How's everybody here doing?
We're great, and we got the Open Bar boys have jumped in as well. J Mike and Manbun, how are we?
Just dandy. Gabe, how you feeling?
There we go.
Oh, I got my hair down. I was thinking about the bun, but then I saw Scott in here. I said I better let the hair down.
Yeah, it's quite a difference right there. Mine versus yours.
bit of a contrast. All right, so guys from the Open Bar, why don't you just give us a rundown on what's been going on with your, the Open Bar leagues you've been running?
I'm gonna give that one to J Mike because he organized it entirely, and I also don't want to take any credit because the teams that either I drafted or we drafted were hoofda.
Yeah, so I'll try to be as brief as possible if I can. So essentially, and Scott Fish, he knows this. We talked to him about it when he was on the show this summer. A lot of this spawned from him, and just trying to be able to make sure that this year, and Sally also said once upon a time, hey, like just be a good steward with what you have, like whatever the platform you have, like leverage it well. And that really resonated with us. So we wanted to just be able to do something that was fun, that was easy. And thus was born the Open Bar Best Ball-ish Charity League, staying on brand there with heavy on the ish. Additionally, what we were able to do and knock out is we had some folks who would constantly be in our chat. Shout out to you, Casey McCoy, constantly in the chat who would want us to do some sort of listener league. And we're like, no, no, it's not happening. And they kept pushing and they kept pushing. And eventually we thought, had the idea to kind of merge those things together. And so we just opened it up. We were hoping, hey, can we get 14 people in here to do some sort of charity league? And eventually we ended up with 28 of us, which was pretty cool. So we had the Genius division, which is of course Gabe, and the J Mike division. And essentially come down to everyone contributing. We raised over $700, and everybody represented their own charity, which was cool. And we even have the second place winner in the house currently, Mr. Russ Fisher, who took down second place. Shout out to Ben Eby, who took down first place. But essentially, we went through and everyone represented a charity, and we were able to donate to a couple of fantastic charities with that. So the Colorectal Cancer Alliance was one of those, as well as shout out to our main man, James the Brain, Mr. Beer Cheese and Bread Bowl Soup himself. We were able to contribute, donate to his wife, Heather. So that was really special for us to be able to get that taken care of today. And really cool to be able to bring 28 people together who just really wanted to be able to do some sort of good, which was just such a blessing to us. So yeah, that was us in a nutshell, to be able to leverage our small little corner of the world and leverage it for good.
And shout out to Ben for hitting top 10 in SFBX.
Facts, yeah.
He had a pretty good end of the year there altogether. Before we touch a little bit more here on the Open Bar, John, Eric, you got anything you want to throw in real quick?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I'll get out of here before that Russ guy starts talking. I was gonna hang out when I saw J Mike and Gabe jump in. I'm like, this is a party I want to be a part of. Then Russ joined, and it's like, all right, I really should go now. No, I do actually have to go. I'm supposed to be hanging out, relaxing tonight after some days trying to get payouts done. So I will step out. I do appreciate you guys having me. I appreciate you guys shining a light on all these awesome things that are happening in the fantasy football world. I will also tease that be ready for 2021. I've already talked to Scott earlier today. There's definitely more coming. Definitely more coming. I know Scott starts planning SFB like 3 years in advance. So he's been planning SFB 11 for like at least 3 years.
But I keep it really under wraps. I always tell everybody, I don't know, man. We'll find out.
Yeah. Of course. So I know that's going to grow and get bigger. We're going to make sure that the satellite portion of it is ready to go this year, right, Scott?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We're going to have that ready to go. And all the other stuff that I ran, everything in addition to the eliminators, we're going to grow those too. So I appreciate everybody out there supporting everything that I do, and look for definitely more in 2021. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Eric, pros, Joes?
Yeah, I've got to echo that same sentiment. I was looking forward to hanging out until Russ showed up. He and I spent enough time together last night. I was a floating head on his stream yesterday evening. But it's just awesome to see how far-reaching all of this good work really is in the community, and just how embracing the community is around it. Right, we're in our first year as well, and everyone dove in. They opened up their wallets. They gave of their time and of their platform. Like I mentioned before, we are still raising money for another day and a half. So if anybody wants to donate, that money is going to St. Jude's to Dave Richards' cause as our Pros with Joe's One champion. To do so, they would just head to our donor center. It's proswithjoes.rallyup.com/trophy.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Cheers.
So, Mike, Gabe, you guys did it this year, 28 teams. Well, what's 2021 going to look like? Because the theme of the show is, and Scott knows exactly what we're talking about, you can start off with 48 teams at one point or 48 teams in a league. It's going to grow up to like 960 to 1,600 to who knows where it's going to go from there on. Where do you guys go from 28 next year?
Okay. Scott, what did we get you to mix SFB this year? What number did we get you to?
1440 this year.
1440. All right, J Mike. 2880? 2880. The open bar, best ball ish. Signups are open now at patreon.com/the open bar. All proceeds going to charity of your choice.
This guy.
If you guys need help running it, let me know.
I can't even come on a charity show and be genuine.
Bro, this is why we're not invited anywhere. They don't want us around. I don't know what it looks like next year. Ideally, we have more people that want to jump in. I think we'll be at least 29 teams. Linda, shout out to Linda in the chat. Linda said she wanted to join, so that's +1. We're already growing.
The perfect number for a fantasy football league, 29.
29, people. Yes. And the beauty of it is by the time we get to the playoffs, so weeks 14 through 16, it's pooled play anyway. So it's basically the top scores advance as we go forward. So maybe that works out well. But the goal is just to continue to be able to help dope people run along with us and be able to want to at least do a little bit of good to, again, leverage our platform well to be able to bring some positivity, shed some light on some awesome organizations, some awesome people who are doing dope things, and be able to create a community, which we were able to just chat it up all season long and encourage each other and have fun, laugh it up, chop it up. And so it was really cool to be able to see something grow as organic as it did. I'm grateful for all those guys that joined on. And so the goal would be to continue. And I put in the chat this morning, I had said first annual ? And everything. A bunch of guys are like, let's I'm here. Like if we're doing it, let's do it again. I'm here for it. And so I was very, I was shocked at the original level of receptiveness that people had with it. And I'm grateful for the folks that want to ride with us. And if we want to run it back again next year, let's do some more good. So the hope is to hopefully have more than 28 teams. So we're at 29 with Linda, and we'll see how we grow from there. And next year, maybe we can have for those that know the show, a Pulp Premium division. Shout out to Bob Gilchrist for that. But yeah, it's just our little way to be able to help encourage in a very dark and tough time. So that's the hope.
Well, that's the thing too, right? 2020 has been, by all intents and purposes, a pretty dark year altogether. But the one thing that has been true through and through is the light of the charitable aspect of the fantasy football community. And no matter what charity that is or what charity league it is, it seems like when you say, I'm going to start a charity league, you automatically have 29 teams ready to go. It's almost like a guarantee, right? Yeah. It's like as soon as you throw charity, this community will rally around a cause every single time. And both Gabe and J Mike, when it comes to spreading the love, you guys do that as well as anybody on top of the charity aspect. FF Honors is not just about the charity aspect, but that positivity in the community, that good Samaritan type role. That's the stuff we really want to focus on here tonight. So I'm glad you guys mentioned that.
Yeah, no question. Let's kick it over to Russin, because I want to hear more about everything that you've been doing, man.
Oh, I don't know. I don't really do things. I just let other people say that I do things because I don't really talk about things. But I did the spreadsheet for their open bar league. Does that count? I'll take credit for that.
There you go.
I used my pivot table knowledge to put all of the all of the scores into one column. Yeah, that's right.
Administration is admittedly not the strong suit of the bartenders at the open bar. So we appreciate Rush leveraging his skills and gifts to be able to help us move forward. So it was great.
And I started cringing when John was talking about making more eliminators and more things like that, because his Google sheet is it might as well not be. It is archaic. So I told him, like, look, man, I can't work like this. This is just no, like, I'm not going to work on ledger paper again. Like this isn't the 50s anymore.
He's got to let me automate that system. And
I told him I am doing something next year. Like, he got me on when things were started already. And I'm like, no, before next year starts, I am absolutely at least creating something that's a little automated with it. Oh man, it was horrible to deal with. I could say that now that he's gone, so that's fine.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I don't even know how I would track that many leagues. I don't know. I don't know how you track 141 leagues. I don't know how you even keep track of 240 people like the Warrior Bowl, let alone 1440, and make sure everything runs good.
Lots of tabs on spreadsheets. That's all it is. One tab for every single league. But
1440, man.
That's real
I'm
wizard.
not talking about that.
A lot of
League
tabs.
Leagues has 1,015 leagues I run. That's on the side of SFV.
Oh my goodness!
And what's crazy is he does that in a notebook by hand. So
I do. It's got my abacus. I'm sliding numbers over. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, he started in the '90s, and he doesn't want to get modern. He likes doing it the way he does it.
He's there on his blackboard scrolling in chalk.
Yep.
So one of the things we talked about earlier on in the show was the fact that if you have an idea, roll it out there and just go with it. J Mike, I know you were in the chat room when I kind of came up with this crazy little idea we got going on, but I know we got the Hunger Bowl and Pauly's playoffs down below here. Both Aaron and Shane are joining us. And I believe, was this your guys' first year rolling out those leagues?
Yeah, it was the first year.
So kind of just, I'll go with Shane first because you were kind of cool, chilling in the chat in the boom room below. Where did the Pauly's playoffs kind of come from? What got you started in? You know what? I'm just going to put this league out there. I'm just going to roll it out there, and we're going to go for it.
Yeah, Scott Fishbowl was the inspiration.
Really?
But then also my wife's grandmother had Alzheimer's, and for the past 3 years we've been doing the walk to end Alzheimer's in Birmingham. She actually passed away last November on November 15th, and we were starting our kind of fundraising campaign, and I was trying to figure out a way that I could do something, and I was like, duh, I have X amount of followers now. I can at least throw it out there and see who's interested. And so I got with Scott, I got with Rich over at King Fantasy Sports, and got them to help me kind of set everything up. And Scott, thank you for your advice and whatnot with all that. And was just like, let's do it. So threw it out there, got people to sign up. I think I had about 50 in the first day or so. And then we got up to, I think 132-ish because I wanted a little bit of reserve. First 120 people got in, then 12 people after that, just in case anyone backed out on draft day. So, I was going to hop on here and actually announce the winner of Pauly's playoff. So, without further ado, the winner of Pauly's playoff, the inaugural Pauly's playoff, is Leo G. at Smooth 74.
Nice. There we go.
Nice. He dropped a cool 275 in the final round. Yeah. So props to him. And then in second place we had Matt D. Cool, and then third place was Mad Six. So.
Very nice.
Excellent.
I know Leo. Known Leo for a while. He's been in a lot of my leagues for years.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Oh, and I just saw Linda's comment. I wanted to shout out a couple other people, if y'all don't mind, real quick.
Go right ahead.
Foremost, I had commissioners for each league, which I don't know if I'm going to do that again. But D Heaton 47, Phil Burns is Burn Zone with a 0, Speed Bump McGee, D Wood 1977, FFB Phoenix, Cathel 41, CM Brown 22010, good old Linda G with Linda Lions, Brett LeBou, FF Brett LeBou, Bodacious Beer, and Matt D. Cool. And then Dom FFL. Couldn't have done it without all their help.
See, these guys do it smart. I need to get people to commission my leagues for me.
I need to get people to run my teams for me.
I'll run teams. I'll trade you. I'll run your teams if you run my leagues. I got about 15 at least waiting for you right now.
I think we can work on something there. Definitely work on something. So I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Shane, thank you for the idea, because obviously when we go to the open bar best ballish 2880, is that what we said? Nice. When we go there, we'll have commissioners for each. And obviously, thank you for nominating the idea. You'll be a commissioner next year for that. So thank you.
Thank you for signing up.
Open bar is going to bounce here. But again, thank you all very much for having this. Dingus, I'm very proud of you for running with the idea that kept you up at 2:00 in the morning. Very encouraged by it. Lewis, always good to be with you as well, as we've tried to connect for years now. But it's just funny how we just keep visiting each other. But thank you for having us, man. We appreciate it. Scott, Russ, Aaron, Shane, thank you all very much. Y'all be well.
You too.
Take care. Thank you both for coming on. We appreciate
Bye,
it.
buddies.
So much love, everyone. Shout out to you, Dingus, as well, and Lewis putting it all together. I just echo J Mike every time that he says anything because it's easy that way, but it's always truthful as well. And I'm with him, and I ride with y'all. And thank you.
Thanks,
thanks, man. See you then.
Thank you, guys. I know our next guest here, Aaron. We got something in common. We were both raising money for No Kid Hungry, which is something dear to both of us. I think next year I may take his route and start a league rather than having my chest waxed on a live stream. So I think I may go with the league idea like you did rather than what I did. So Aaron, where'd that whole Hunger Bowl kind of come from, and how did that go this year?
It went great. So the idea kind of came in the middle of COVID. Obviously, I was a youth pastor before, and I work a full-time job, and I'm able to work every day. And luckily, I'm an essential personnel at the Port of Houston, but I was just thinking about people out there who had lost their jobs, and people don't think about the kids who are affected by that. And being a youth pastor, I know how important school meals are to children. And so I started looking for charities to try to choose. It was the first one that jumped out, and it went great. The Hunger Bowl was a huge success. And thanks to my friends at Gridiron Experts and Expand the Box Score, and even Scott jumped in and offered to give up a Scott Fish Bowl 11 spot, and that helped. And we had a great turnout for it.
That's kind of like an automatic, like 40 more people jumping into a league as soon as you say there's a SFB 11 spot up for grabs, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it's something that gets people excited, the opportunity to get in that. But that's great. You're absolutely right as well. I know how essential school meals can be for kids, particularly if their parents' income has been cut off, and with kids not being able to go to school, that's an important source that's being taken away from them. So I think it's a tremendous cause that you and Dingus have been supporting, and yeah, just full credit to you for doing that. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and you should be very, very, very proud of your efforts.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So where are you taking the Hunger Bowl next year? And
yes,
obviously the SFB factored into the whole Hunger Bowl to begin with. Scott, you're seeing this kind of tread throughout the entire fantasy football community. Awesome. Where's the Hunger Bowl goal next?
Luckily, I'm going to have some help. This year, I kind of tried to do it all by myself. I ran 7 leagues. We had 84 people, and I kind of just winged it more or less. I purchased jerseys for the top 14 players, and so they'll all get a autographed jersey. But next year, Gridiron Experts has actually agreed to take over the Hunger Bowl, and they're going to kind of help run it next year. So that'll make a big difference instead of me trying to do it by myself.
Very nice.
That's great.
And we've talked about this again. the extra help whenever you're running one of these leagues. I don't know if it was originally there for you, Scott, when you first started your leagues, but it seems like everyone is willing to help now. John Bosch was talking about people jumping in to help him with his eliminators. The Warrior Bowl guys were talking about it. Peter Gent was talking about with the EFFC, how others are willing to take on more of a role to keep these leagues up and running. And just got to talk about, Scott, I'll send this to you, how that evolution has come about, you think, in this community.
I honestly don't know how it's come about. I'm just glad that it has. I'm glad that we're a community that wants to do good things and be nice to each other for most part. I will say, just to add on to what you were saying, don't have fear of reaching out. If you have an idea that you want to pursue, it's so easy to tweet out or reach out to people that are already doing it. Any of the guys you've listened to tonight, if you shoot them a DM, they are going to give you advice and help you. Me included. Don't just absolutely DM me if you are thinking about doing something like this. And if I don't respond right away, it's just because I'm busy. but I'll try to respond. I do have to get out of here as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to there've been a lot of nice words said in just the few minutes I've been on here, but mostly just thank you for, pushing this effort forward and putting it out there. And there's, you don't even have to be that active to make this good difference. You can just support the people that do it. You don't have to donate money. You can just retweet or like or whatever, or, interact with the people to promote this kind of good thing that we're doing. And, the more important people that do that, the bigger it's going to get. And I've said it a million times, there are hundreds of thousands of fantasy leagues. And if we get each fantasy league just a little bit involved in charitable efforts, we can do a heck of a lot of good out there. And it starts with us. It starts with us in this industry, pushing it out there. And then the casual leagues pick up, and then we've changed everything. So thank you so much for putting on this show tonight and gathering this awesome group of people who are making a difference out there. And I can't wait to watch the full show tomorrow, but just thank you to the community for getting behind these efforts. It's truly awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for dropping by, Scott, and sharing a little bit of your time with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. You have a good night.
Bye.
Shane, I'm just going to throw this right back at you here. Pauly's playoffs, bigger and better next year. You're getting some help. What do you want to kind of say to the community right now?
I mean, first and foremost, thank you. I told you this in our DM, but we raised over $5,000 this year, and that's by far the most that we've ever raised as a team. And a majority of that was from the fantasy community. So I couldn't be more grateful for something, especially being newer to the fantasy community. So first and foremost, thank you to everyone that supported it by donating or retweeting, just like Scott said. The retweets helped get the word out and helped us get to 120 participants. So, yeah, my wife has already asked me, can we make it bigger next year? And I'm like, oh.
My wife says the same thing to me.
But 120 was manageable this year. I would like to grow it next year. I don't know by how much. I don't know if doubling it is going to happen just yet. We'll get there, though. But I'm also going to release the sign-up forms a little earlier. So if we get enough to double it, then I'll double it. But we'll just kind of see how that goes. So that's pretty much all I got.
That's awesome.
Aaron, I'm going to swing it to your way here.
All right. Well, I mean, the biggest thing to me, I think kind of what Scott was saying, is just don't be afraid to put it out there. I mean, when I had this idea, my original goal was maybe around $500, and then I bumped it up to $1,000. And by the time it was all said and done, we raised almost $2,700, and that was way beyond my expectation. And I think that just speaks a lot to the fantasy community as a whole, because a large majority of the people playing in the Hunger Bowl were also playing in the Scott Fish Bowl. Some of them were playing in multiple charity leagues, and they all after the season was over, already talking about next year, how they still want to be involved. So when it comes to trying to do good for other people, don't hesitate, especially in the fantasy football community. I think there's a lot of really good people that are not only willing to get in there, but they're looking for opportunities to get out there and help other people. And if you can be somebody that can facilitate something like that, it may be a little difficult at times, but it's definitely worth it in the end to be able to say that all I did was open the door, but all these people jumped in and just blew us away with their support.
And I don't know about everyone else, but I know dealing with No Kid Hungry, when we were putting it out there for our chest waxing, our Get Wax campaign, it was, hey, you know what? Here's what we're doing for No Kid Hungry, this and that. They were actually involved in the whole process the entire way. They were thanking us for work that we were trying to do. They wanted to be part of the event themselves. So I don't know about other charities. Shane, maybe you can speak on this. Russ, maybe you as well. But these charities, they come right back at you, and they reciprocate that love. And I think that's a huge part. And I was blown away by it. Like, we were just trying to do something good we're trying to make something silly, something good is what we were trying to do. And they were like very happy. And I set the bar high, and we didn't meet what I thought was what I wanted to do for a standard, but they were so appreciative of what we were able to do. And like you said, some money is better than no money. And I speak on your charities you guys were dealing with and just how that whole process was.
Yeah, so with Alzheimer's, they didn't necessarily directly interact with me, but once they figured out like what we were doing to raise the money that we did, because we ended up, I think, fifth as the fifth team in Birmingham, and the fifth, and my wife was the fifth overall participant in Birmingham. They asked her like, how'd you do it? And I think wrote an article about her, did a phone interview with her or something like that. So once they started to realize, hey, this is how they're doing it, they started to kind of shout that out more and more. So I'm thinking next year we'll probably get some more publicity from them, even though we're actually going to be in a different chapter because we just moved. And I do want to make a public statement here relating to what your chest waxing thing is. I do know that I still owe the fantasy community a chest waxing for my following contest last year. I have not forgotten. There's just been a lot of crap going on in my personal life. Mostly good crap, but a lot of crap. So I still owe you guys that. It's coming. I promise.
And I bid you good luck with that.
I did the back already. That hurt.
Oh. Yeah, but here's the thing with the back. It doesn't have nipples. Aaron.
Don't judge. You don't know.
Yeah.
Aaron, last word to you there with No Kid Hungry.
Like I said, Gridiron Experts is going to be taking it on next year, so just keep an eye out on them. They're probably a little after the NFL draft. They'll be dropping some information for it. But regardless of if it's Hunger Bowl, Kid Hungry, or any of these other charities, I just support people jumping in on any of them because everything helps. Thank you guys for having me on here.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything you've done in the fantasy community this year and the charitable deeds that the causes that you guys have gone up for. So thank you from us to you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Everyone that's come on the show and everyone who's watching the show. I know there's so many people who've done great things out there. So thank you.
Yes.
Russ, I know you're doing some fantastic things. You got your store. You always have the charitable component to everything you do. The floor is yours, man.
Oh, well, it's weird to say, like, I feel like I'm not as like big boy charity as the rest of you guys because I sort of spread the wealth around. I think one of the draws of how I deal everything is the winners of the leagues get to choose. Like what J Mike did with the open bar. All of the Trade Addicts leagues except for Trade Addicts won because I didn't know. Like I wish I started that league like 5 weeks later when like I saw like Scott Fish's, hey, you should donate to charity with your leagues. And I'm just like, we should donate to charity. Yes. And then every year after, it's been 2-3 off seasons and I've put up to a vote should we put money to charity? And it gets voted down every year. And I shame them harder and harder. Last year, I even started doing it just on Twitter. Like, I think this year I have to start like tagging everyone in the league. Like, these guys don't want to give to charity. These are
bad people.
Yeah, these are bad people. But there's 8 trade addicts leagues, 7 of them. There's, I think it's like $110 from each league. The winner of the league gets to pick the charity. There's 2 best ball charities, best ball dynasty leagues I run where like $200 goes to the winner's charity. Just at this point, every single league I've created since Trade Addicts 2 and on, even if it's a $25 league, $40, $50 will go to charity, just because why the hell not? Like, we play with such stupid money that why shouldn't we do something good about it? And so what you were saying before and what Scott said before, like, if you're running this stuff, or if you have the idea to run this stuff, reach out to people. Like, I mean, Dingus, like, I think at 2 a.m. when he woke up and thought about this, like, I woke up the next day to a DM. He's like, yo, I've kind of had this crazy idea and you seem like the person to run it by. And I'm like, I love the beginning of this story. Let's do it. Yeah. So, and I mean, like, I ended up helping out with Bosch and the Eliminators. I helped Scott out a little bit with SFB, which I've been bugging him for like 3 years to let me try and help. I did the spreadsheet work for the open bar just because I know how to do that crap, because I have a very boring day job. So, anywhere I can, I do. So, and I know there's more people out there that are willing to do that. So while I can't help every single person out there, just know that anyone that's been on this show, anyone in the chat of this show, and so many other people in our awesome community, even if it's just bouncing ideas off of them, we will all listen, and hopefully people will give a little back and try and help people out. So yeah, like, don't back off from your ideas, just go with it. And hey, I want to start a charity league. I want it to be 2 divisions of 12, and then all of a sudden you only have 10 people sign up. Oh crap, you only have a charity league with 10 people. You still have a charity league. That's something. Right. Like, remember, I said 12 teams. It's literally a $25 buy-in. We still give $40-$50 to charity because, again, we can, so we should. So if you have the idea, run with it. Let people know you have this idea, because they'll help you get it better. They'll help you flesh out they'll help you birth your idea. I'm really glad everyone can't see my hand motions right now. And no matter how small it really is, it's something, and anything is better than nothing, I guess, is a way to end that. So help wherever, whenever, however, and there's always someone around to help you somehow, when, how, anyhow. End of words.
Just a couple things here. Like I said, I mentioned that during that Get Waxed there, Chase Vernon with FF Intervention, he was the other guy who did it with me. He was the one who said, you know what? If you don't reach your goal, basically, you still raise money. Don't think you fell short of anything, is basically what he was trying to say. Because I was disappointed in not getting to $2,000, but we still hit $1,500. You know what I mean? But for me, it felt like it wasn't enough. I wanted to do more. And he's like, we did something. We waxed our chests and people paid us to give to charity. Like, it's a pretty easy thing. But sometimes we got to remember that as a community when we're going out with these ideas, that anything is better than nothing. And one of the other things here, Russ, and you didn't touch on this, is we have the FF Honors t-shirts for sale in your store with 100% of the proceeds, I believe it was, right, going straight to
100
as well. So any money we've made on top of the cost of the shirt is going directly to No Kids Hungry, and you can easily get that over at the store. Russ, I can't remember the exact link, but if you just kind of want to share that.
Oh yeah, FF Pod shirts. Larry, I'm in the middle of talking. Come on, man. Yeah. Always causing a problem. So ffpodshirts.storenvy.com. This pretty much it started out as me just wanting to create stuff that I wanted. Like, I mean, let's pimp it out like it is, wearing my Trade Addict shirt. I wanted a Superflex Super Show shirt, so I made those. And then everyone was like, "Hey Russ, how do you do this? Like, how do you get the store going?" Oh man, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, I got it set up already. You want me just to throw it in there? Okay, yeah, sure. How much should we charge? It's just like, yeah, look at it this way. Do you really care about getting $3-4 a shirt? Not really. So why don't we just give it to charity? Okay. Like, because let's face it, it's cool. Like, getting money from stuff is awesome, but like, just the idea that someone else besides your relatives want to wear a shirt or a sticker or drink from a coffee mug of something you created, to me, is the coolest goddamn thing ever. Which is why, like, that's really like that's how it all came down. It's just like, what the hell am I doing with this $2-3? Only one E in store envy. So it's just like, why not? It seemed like such an easy, straightforward idea, just to be like, I'm gonna make cool stuff that I can have. Like, I keep taking pictures of the back of my laptop, like my laptop cover, and it's just covered in stickers. Half of those are just ones I made because I wanted them. The honors. But so that's really all it was. And it's just, again, it's another thing where it's just something so dumb we do. And why does it need to be more than just, hey, it's awesome you're wearing my shirt, and hey, these people get to eat food.
You're right. Yeah.
That seems more important than me. I don't even know what the hell I would waste $3 on. My kids got really into Wendy's now, so like, that's still not buying me a kid's meal. So like, just give it to someone who needs it. And Bob, how do you get into a Trade Addicts League? I do actually have some orphans open, so I'm going to be tweeting them out once I know a full number. And it's literally, I take names down, put them on a list, and then use a random number generator. Because the point of those leagues is just strangers coming together to play games. So I don't necessarily pick people. So yeah, keep your eyes out on Twitter. I'm going to do my best not to create Trade Addicts 9, because damn, I run too many freaking leagues. But I actually have a couple of orphans already, and I didn't get answers from everyone in all the leagues. So there's going to be some openings for sure.
There you go. That's how you get into Trade Addicts.
Hey, Larry. How you doing, Larry?
Yeah, baby. What's going on, my man?
So it sounds like Larry's got other ideas to get to the front of the line, but we won't go there yet.
Hey,
recently,
of all the people on the screen, he's the only one to buy me a beer. So
there you
go. So Larry recently had a birthday bash.
He did,
and apparently I wasn't invited, but we won't go there. It was apparently really fun. Everyone had a good time. But one of the unique things about this birthday party, Larry, what was the gift, so to speak, at your party?
Well, I first want to say thank you for allowing me to come on to this great extravaganza. This is fantastic. But I also want to say you were on the following week as a solo guest. I didn't want Dingus on as just like a side piece. I wanted him to be the focal point of the show. So he was a prime time guest. He was like catch the Dingus episode on the Hot Sauce Pod. Great appearance.
Keep it as catch the Dingus. That should be someone's catchphrase somewhere.
Catch it, baby. You don't want to catch the COVID, but you want to catch some dingus for sure. At any time of the day. So yeah, man.
Is that what your wife says too, Dingus?
Well, we were talking really about marketing the slogan. Just do it, right, Lewis? We were talking about just do it as our slogan. So maybe we put down
Absolutely.
Just
catch
do
the
it.
dingus. Just do it.
Yeah, man. So we have this big birthday show, Hot Sauce Pod. Let's rock and roll. Donate. We ask people, just make a donation to your favorite charity. Screenshot it, send it to us anytime in the month of November. It has to be a minimum of $10, just because we wanted and we were giving away a bunch of stuff. So people would send us a screenshot of their donation to their specific charity that they wanted to donate to. And we were able to give away a lot of stuff, raffle, a lot of Outhouse donated a pod shirt, and we had a couple of different pod shirts, and there was a lot of other stuff. The big prize was the the Arizona Cardinals mini helmet. The Larry Monkey signed Arizona Cardinals mini helmet. That was a big one. Actually,
there definitely was a big one on there.
Yo, hey, ooh. So here's the deal. So we were able to raise over like $1,100. So it was a great. It turned out it was we were talking one day on the pod. Hey, let's get something together. We haven't done much. We haven't heard too much lately. We were like maybe week 13, week 12, week 11. I don't know. But it was like we haven't really come together and taken care of somebody or the way we do normally. It was like kind of like in the middle of the season, everyone's going at it, and hey, let's see if we can get some money. Let's see if we can all donate money, because that's what we all love to do in this community. So it was a good opportunity for people to just, hey, you know what, I made this donation a week ago, or I was on somebody on Facebook, had one of those birthday donation things. Here's my screenshot that got you into this raffle. And we gave away some jerseys, a lot of different prizes. It was a lot of fun. It was a great episode, unedited. Good. It's probably like a 3.5 hour show. And yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. And Michael Fanaro, the feverish one, he ended up winning a Vinny Testaverde signed Jets jersey. He donated it back, and said, "Listen, let's get some more donations." So it's still happening. Donate. Send a screenshot to the show. Send it to Justin, Run DFF, my co-host and my partner in crime, Run DFF, or myself, FF Larry Monkey on Twitter. Send us another screenshot, and we're gonna raffle off. Run DFF's in charge of this one. I think January 1st, he's raffling off the signed Vinny Testaverde jersey. So yeah, just send a screenshot of any donation you've made from now until the last month or so, and boom, it's a minimum $10. It's that simple. But yeah, man, that's what we got into. And man, I love all this stuff. I love being a part of this community. All these FF eliminators, the FF Down Under Bowl, the Warrior Bowl, the Hunger Bowl. Man, I love being a part of all these extravaganzas, man. You get in there, and man, my redraft teams really took a shit this year, but hey, it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun being a part of all that stuff, and you're in there with guys, with folks from the community, and we're all coming together and we're all having fun, man. I dig it. It's all good. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too. Absolutely, that's it. It's about fantasy football is about having fun. Your team takes a shit. Who cares? You're having a great time doing it.
There's a lot of folks, real quick. There's a lot of folks because they know that I'm into this sort of thing, and they're just like, "Oh, how much money? What did that league get you? This or this league?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't even know. Honestly, I have no idea how much. I don't really get into this for the money. It's fun to win leagues and be competitive and all that stuff, but I don't get in it to win the big prize, like and in the Dynasty world, which is where I'm predominantly from. You want to, there's your rebuild leagues and there's your competitor leagues or your contender leagues. So yeah, man, I don't do it for the cash. I don't care about it. I just love it, man. I just love being involved with everyone. I love this is all I got, man. I mean, especially now. This was me before I was quarantining, before quarantining was cool. Honestly, man, I was doing all this kind of stuff before it was a thing. So anyway, I don't know. Good times.
Very good.
I just felt we needed to wrap this show up with Larry's energy coming.
Absolutely. What a way to put a bow on it.
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. I love that I got to be on with Outhouse, because he only lives he's like 40 minutes from me right now. I could go over his house. I could be to his house before midnight, I think, if I left now.
I'll be asleep before you get here.
I'll be the guy with the boombox, man, outside your bedroom window.
Singing a power ballad.
Yeah, a little Careless Whisper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, baby.
Little housekeeping stuff here before we get going here. First off, the first thing I want to mention is Russ. Thank you for setting up that store. We thought to ourselves, when I first got this whole idea kind of together in my head, I was like, it kind of got spurred on by the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and how every NFL player's kind of got that little patch on their jersey to kind of signify that, you know what, you're the one player on your team that does this, and needs to be recognized for what you're doing. Well, we thought Daddy's home. He's one of my good buddies there. He loves stickers. Who doesn't love stickers? Russ, you love stickers, right?
I love stickers.
Only a scratch and sniff, maybe.
Ooh. I don't think we want fantasy football scratch and sniff stickers.
Hey.
I thought to myself, you know what? I'm too cheap to pay for an actual patch. So what's the next best thing? And Bob Gilchrist, who's been in the chat all night, kind of got this little logo that you see put together, the Fantasy Football Honors 2020 with the hand reaching down to a player. Well, we've put that on a sticker, and Russ and myself have purchased these stickers. And for everyone on the show tonight, I'm going to jump in your DMs at some point, get your address. I want to mail you guys a sticker. I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I just thought it's kind of like a nice little patch to have. A little thank you from Lewis, myself, and Russ to everyone who came on the show tonight, and just continue that good work you guys are doing in the community. Keep pushing forward, keep growing your leagues that you're running, keep growing the charitable aspects, and just continue to be great people in the community and leaders in the community. And so that's going to be our little thank you from us to everyone on the show.
And go to ffpodshirts.storeenvy.com and get a t-shirt with that same
t-shirt
logo on it. And every penny that comes in from those shirts will also go to No Kid Hungry.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Get your shirts.
And buy some other crap while you're there, and it'll go to some other charity also. 'Cause we switch off charities every other day. So if you buy one in the next 2 days, it will go to Partners in Healing, which is a charity that helps people fighting cancer pay their other bills, not their medical bills, but it's so people that are fighting cancer can just concentrate on that as opposed to worrying about their electricity bill or their water bill, so they don't have to worry about stuff going wrong. And then after that, what we do is me and now Rocky, my co-host, he'll pick another charity that will go for 2 months. So I don't know what that is yet. I told him he's got to think about it and give me an answer before next show, or I'm just going to put him on the spot and he'll have to think of one right away. But for 2 days, it'll be Partners in Healing. After that, it's all going to charity anyway. I just can't tell you which one if you wait more than 2 days.
Yes, and Russ, that's one of those big things that you guys do over there. Probably more so than even the charity leagues you run. I think it's a fantastic idea. And when we did these T-shirts and stickers, it was a no-brainer. And I was too lazy to set up my own store. Let's be honest.
You asked, like you had the idea for maybe a good 30 seconds. It's like, you do this through here, right? And I'm like, yeah. You want me just to do it for you? Yes, I do.
Yes, please.
We've all been there with our wives. Yeah, you want me to do it? Yeah. It's pretty easy there on that.
That's honestly how I feel about all of the behind the scenes playoff workings for Paulie's playoff and Rich at King Fantasy Sports. Dude has been a miracle worker for me because I'm not smart enough to figure any of that crap out. And he's great. Set it all up for me. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, usually once you have things set up, it's nice and easy. Setting up the store was a pain in the ass because you're going through a middleman then you have to set up your storefront and all this stuff. But once you get it set up, you literally click 3 buttons and you have a t-shirt. But if I could save anyone the trouble of having to go through that crap, where I could just be like, here's a link you can give to people, which I should give to you, or you can tweet out again. But yeah, no, ffpodshirts.storeenvy.com. I'll say it as many times as I need to. ffpodshirts.storeenvy.com. Hey, what's that site again? ffpodshirts.storeenvy.com.
With one E.
And what?
With one E.
Yes, one E. Store Envy. It's like a name game for Dynasty Game Night. They put the words together. Yes. Yeah, let's play. I got a name game. Yeah.
How about FF Pod Mustaches? Store
FF Pod stashes. You just all he sells is stickers in the shape of his mustache.
Stick mustache stickers. Each month they just get bigger and bigger.
Maybe a hat. A hat is kind of.
I do have to say, if I didn't know Dingus as a human being, I would be insanely intimidated just seeing what you look like. And to be fair, if I did step up to you, you could give the crap out of me anyway, but just knowing that you're such a nice guy and then seeing your external giant mustache with your cowboy hat, it's just yo, he looks like a man. Yeah.
Dingus is 3.5 feet tall. Not too many people know this.
Doesn't matter, man. many people shorter than me can easily kick my ass and look much manlier than I do. That's absolutely fine. Don't listen to Larry. Don't take that shade.
That wasn't good, Dave.
Larry, thanks for stopping in with us here tonight. Shane, Aaron, keep up the good work there. Russ, love you, brother. Thank you for everything, for the support.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We really
appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you for having me
Good
on,
night.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Later, Larry.
Cheers.
So everyone who's still watching, don't leave yet because we've still got another Zach Reed tune coming on. Just
There
like
we
the
go.
opening ceremony. We got one of those coming on here as well. But I want to do a couple little shout outs here. First off, Lewis, I'm going to turn this over to you because we didn't get a chance to talk about the Down Under Bowl, and that's something that needs to be talked about as well. So 5 minutes on the Down Under Bowl for me.
I'll give you two because I talk about it in other places, but again, like everyone else, the Down Under Bowl was inspired by Scott Fish, and we raised a little bit of money in the first year, and we donate to a charity called the Smith Family, and the Smith Family initially started out by buying toys for children at Christmas and giving to them, and I didn't know this, so I thought that was rather serendipitous, given what Toys for Tots does. The Smith Family has now grown into a huge charity that helps families support their children who are living in poverty to ensure they can get the materials for school, to ensure that they'll be fed. So they sponsor children and take care of children to make sure that they don't fall behind, that the children don't get left behind. So we support them. And then this year we also gave some money to Food Bank Australia as well. It seems like a long time ago, but Australia was ravaged by bushfires earlier on in 2020, and then got hit by COVID. So the food bank does a great job in helping people who've been affected by either the bushfires or unemployment as a result of COVID and all that kind of stuff. So two very worthy causes. We just announced the winner for this year. Actually, it was Mr. Curtis Patrick from RotoViz. Congratulations to him. It was 264 teams, so he came out on top. And in 2021, we will be growing to hopefully 360 teams. And I've set a goal of raising $10,000. And in previous years, we've taken a chunk of the money and donated to charity, and also held some money aside for cash prizes. But I've made the decision in 2021, 100% of money will go to charity. There's no need for prizes anymore. I think it's big enough. We got enough people involved now where I think we can raise a lot of money. So that's why I'm setting the goal high, setting the bar at $10,000. So if you go to fantasyfootballdownunder.com, you can sign up for 2021. You can go to my Twitter. You can see it there at @FF_downunder. It's the pinned tweet. So sign up there. And once everyone's signed up, I'll be sending around the the donation link where you can contribute money of any amount. There's no, even if it's $1, it would be nice if it was more than $1, but even if it's $1, if that's all you can afford, that's great. It's still $1 that will be going to charity that otherwise wouldn't. So yeah, that's the Down Under Bowl.
And it's fantastic. I know I'm registered for it already. Great cause and stuff. Now, a couple little housekeeping tidbits here and there. First off, the theme of the show, obviously, the work that was started by Scott Fish. And I know a lot of people have done charity leagues before, a lot of people have done them during, but Scott Fish was really kind of the one who spearheaded the fantasy football community as a whole. And got everything, that motion kind of going. That's one thing we've learned with the Hunger Bowl, the Baby Bowl, Warrior Bowl, EFFC, all these different bowls, the Down Under Bowl. It was all spurred on by that. And that spurred on stuff like the SFB Podathon, which also spurred on Jack Humphrey's Podathon, which kind of the mental health pod, which kind of touches base on why we're here tonight. And this bit of a Podathon, so to speak, at 3.5 hours. So, and the other thing we learned is if you're going to do something, just go do it. There's people here. There's people here to help you. Reach out. Anyone you've seen on the show tonight is more than willing to help you with your leagues you want to set up. We talked about Rich. He's put on about 100 different leagues himself there with K Fantasy. There's guys are in this community who've seen a lot and done a lot. John Bosch has probably put on the most unique leagues you'll ever meet or see. And I'm still trying to figure out some of these leagues I'm in. So those are kind of things we've learned. And charity doesn't stop today. The charity keeps on going forward. We hope that this is the first annual Fantasy Football Honor Show. We are hoping to continue this on to next year and making it bigger and better, which seems to be another theme of tonight, making everything bigger and better. And maybe next year we'll run some sort of podathon aspect to it here, and some sort of donations and stuff, just to kind of make it bigger and better on our end of things too. I mentioned stickers. I'm going to be hitting up your DMs one more time, sending out stickers to everyone for your time and effort and everything you've done as a thank you. Here's the thing. This show does not get put on by myself and Lewis. We're just simply the talking heads, so to speak, when it comes down to this. Lewis was just the closest person to me when I fell down the rabbit hole.
Dragged in.
I'm going to give Calvin a second to kind of get himself cleaned up here a little bit before I pull him into the live stream.
Yes.
Just so he's a little bit prepared. Some of the other names here, Bob Gilchrist. I know I shouted you out a little bit earlier. You helped us get this logo going. Thank you very much. It's fantastic. It's nice. It's clean. It's gone on shirts. It's gone on the stickers. Thank you. Zach Reed, Tact Assassin. Make sure he's got our music. Him and Chaboy Jordan Richards have kind of collaborated without even knowing on the intro and the outro. The videos are done by Jordan Richards. The music is done by Zach Reed. It's a fantastic combination. And
awesome.
I just want to
Thank you
thank
so
you guys
much
for this. We love it. It's great. And then obviously Russ there, Dynasty Outhouse, getting these stores together, this merchandise together. Without you guys, could not have made this night happen. And of course, the man behind the scenes, ushering people in and out. He is my co-host on the Vipercast, along with Jeff. He's put up with me for a lot. And now today, he had to listen to me talk without saying anything back. Knowing there's so many things he should be fact-checking on me and have to bite his tongue. Calvin, thank you for all your work behind the scenes, man. Appreciate you. Love you. Thank you.
Really appreciate it, Calvin.
Yeah, I love the opportunity to do it. I love listening to the stories, listening to everybody talk about what they're doing. I learned a lot just from listening to it. Had a lot of fun with everybody in the chat room, and you guys did an amazing job. And thank you so much for putting it on. And it was an honor to be able to help you.
You know what? I'm going to give Lewis the last word here in a second. This was literally our fantasy football Oscars.
Yeah.
We made you laugh. I hope we made you cry a little bit with some of the stories and some of the causes behind everything. I think we kind of went up and down the emotional pendulum here, so to speak, of
no doubt.
The world. So Lewis, take us off here, man. One last thing.
Well, I just want to thank everyone who, has taken part, who took the time to come on the show and has supported this. Thank you to everyone who jumped in the chat, made comments, supported us, retweeted us, spread the word. Thank you to everyone who has bought or will buy a T-shirt to support No Kid Hungry. And finally, I just want to thank Matt for dragging me into the rabbit hole with him and for giving me the opportunity to do this with him. It was a privilege. I had a great time. You impress me all the time with your enthusiasm and zest for everything that you do, including this. So I just wanted to say thank you for you. And, I applaud you for your efforts on this one. You've done a tremendous job, and it was an absolute pleasure to share the microphone with you.
Okay, I lied. As Calvin knows, I never give up the last word. Thank you, everyone. And without that, we gone.
Community's got so much to share, giving back fantasy cares. Alright, give a little bit, we give a little bit of our league due. See the reach that we have worldwide. Come together.